Ready, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Cape Coral Charter School Governing Board. It is Tuesday, March 8th. We are at Christmas Cove Elementary. Very happy to be here at 6 o'clock at night. 6:03, sorry about that. Please stand for the invocation. Watch over us tonight as we gather. Thank you for so many participation tonight. It's great to see so many people in our crowd. We've never had this kind of a group. And watch over what we decide tonight and guide us in the way you would have us. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anderson. Boyer. Here. Constant. Here. Donaldson. Present. Jackson. Here. Lucas Ross. Here. Tevlin.
Present.
Zukovic.
Here.
Okay, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve with some corrections,
Okay.
and the corrections already should be highlighted with some minor
Yes.
technical.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Okay, moving on. Approval of the agenda. We actually have an addition to the agenda tonight. It is, we have to, I have to find my page.
This would be called Technology Infrastructure Plan.
Okay. And we would like it to add it as D.
And I have the, if you want to add it, I have the documents for you that we'll pass out in just a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we will add it as new business letter item D. You just wanted to see if I could pronounce infrastructure. And spell it. Okay, so I think we need another motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we have a new agenda. Okay, Nelson, you're up.
Welcome, everybody, and I'm the same with you. It is so wonderful to see this crowd, especially this front row, which we're about to talk about. I can't wait to do this. So, wanted to tell you about our Technology Association. Adam Nowicki and 27 students attended the Florida State TSA conference and competed in 28 events. Of those, they placed in the top 10 in the state in 19 events, including areas such as biotechnology, geospatial technology, problem solving, microcontroller design, and environmental engineering, to name a few. Of the events that they placed the top 3 in and trophied in 4, they were geospatial, which they got first place, Tech Bowl, which written, second place, prepared speech, third place, video game design, third place, and also first place trophy in overall chapter spirit, which is wonderful. And most important, is that they ranked 7th overall in the state. So I want to give you a big hand of applause. Later tonight, we'll be talking about our technology infrastructure and why that's so important, but I do want to introduce Mr. Adam Nowicki, who has helped lead this group, and as you see, there's lots of hands.
Big brain. So I just want to say thank you for your time and listening to me speak, and Mr. Stevenson for giving me the opportunity to talk about these awesome students. The reason I'm here is I do have a slight ulterior motive, of course. One is to absolutely celebrate their accomplishments And number two, to plant a seed, if you will. One I've already been talking with Mr. Stevenson about, and some others about giving them even more opportunities to do even better. TSA, I've talked to people in business who have experienced TSA, and they all tell me the same thing. Nothing prepares these students for the real world like TSA does. It is the whole package. It is science, technology, engineering, arts, math, reading, and is interpersonal communication skills. Because it doesn't matter what you know and how much you know, if you can't communicate it, it's irrelevant. And that's part of the thing that TSA gives them, is that professionalism. And it's one of the things that the seed I want to plant is to humbly request at some point we offer a TSA class in middle school and perhaps high school as well. I know the big dogs that we went up against in Manatee County, they all have classes 6 through grade 12. And they usually score the top 3 in the nation. They have businesses approaching their high school students to purchase software they develop. They have businesses that recruits kids right out of high school, offer them college scholarships with the understanding that once they're done with college, they can go ahead and work for their company. So there's huge opportunities that are tied to this organization. And we're already set apart from Lee County School District. Why not set us even further apart? Because we're the only game in town. We are the only ones that have, there's one small struggling chapter. Bless her heart, I hope nothing but the best for her, but she's fighting a losing battle. And we could really do a lot of amazing things if we had a class in middle and high school. So that is, once again, I wanted to talk to you about celebrating them and planting that seed. And I'd like to also call up a couple of my officers to just talk to you, because I can drone on and on, but when you hear it from the mouths of those who are truly, truly affected, it might make more of an impact. Chapter President Nick Quintana. Christian Lumadou, and our Sergeant at Arms, Alex Frank.
Hello and thank you all for having us here today to inform you a little bit about TSA. Some background on me before I begin. My name is Nicholas Quintana, and I'm the 2015-2016 TSA Chapter President for Oasis Middle School. I started this year of TSA with middle school and 5th graders. As embarrassed I am to admit, I wasn't 100% on board with the idea of having 5th graders join in with middle schoolers. But as the year progressed and the more diligent workers were brought to the surface, I began to see these 10 to 11-year-olds children mature and take situations more seriously. Show your children, please, Diego. He was up against 6th to 8th graders, and he brought us that. So good news. This organization changes people for the better and teaches people the values of team cooperation, maturity, and they give some an idea of what career they may want to pursue in the near future. I know for a fact that the Technology Student Association has made me a more confident individual. If there were to be a class in Oasis High School dedicated to TSA for members so that their projects could be worked on, I have no doubt that most of the projects would fare extremely well at the Florida State conferences.
Hello, my name is Alexander Braden. I'm the 2015-2016 Sergeant at Arms of the Oasis Middle School Chapter. TSA has made a great impact in my life, not only in education, but also in character. TSA has taught me leadership, being a team player, and also being a respectful person. For TSA, I didn't know what I was interested, what I wanted to do for school, but after my first year, I was so amazed by all their events that were going on that now it's very clear what I wanted to do with my career and my future. With TSA, it's more than just a program. It's so much more. It's teaching kids leadership, communication, and people skills, and also technology. Thanks to TSA, I've gotten more and better opportunities in life. And if you had a class for TSA for the middle school and high school chapter, will not only be helping the schools be recognized, but also be giving giving students more opportunities and showing them and giving them a chance for greatness.
Hello, my name is Christian Lumadou, and I am here to help represent the Oasis Middle School and Future High School TSA chapters. So today, I would like to tell you what TSA is. It's Technology Student Association. So it teaches you more than technology, though. It teaches you interpersonal skills. speaking in front of you guys, interviews, and working under pressure. But something that really is amazing about TSA is colleges really care about it. Sure, you can win first place in a pie memorization contest or even valedictorian of your second grade class. But what you can't do every single day is win a first and second place trophy in 2 different events. It's amazing on a college resume. So that's why, as a class, we wouldn't just get first and second and only get 4 trophies. We get so much more. With your help and support, I would like to make it possible for everyone to have a chance to join TSA. And with your help and support, we'd like to make TSA a class in both the middle school and high school chapters.
I think I'm going to make a motion to lower the age to be eligible to be president of the United States right now. Thank you so very much, Mr. Nowicki. Thank you, parents, for being involved. Thank you, students, for all that you do. It is very important to us. And I know the governing board and our strategic planning have talked about this, and tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the infrastructure needed to support those kind of things. So this will be brought back to you all, I can assure you, in context of that. So again, thank you so much. Okay, appreciate it. I wanted to move on to foundation naming of our Lighthouse Award winners. It's important for them to be recognized as well. I'm going to say the names, and if you are in attendance tonight, would you please stand, and then we'll applaud at the very end if we can. From Krista McCullough Elementary, Kathy Rivadeneira. Oasis Elementary, Katie Cheney. Oasis Middle School, Andy McCarthy. And Oasis High School, Frank Hava. And then we've also added our inaugural support personnel winner, which is Mr. Paul Pescatrice from Maintenance, who just wanted to thank them all. And then staying on with teachers, we received a really nice email that was just wonderful from the Florida Department of Education. It recognized 273 teachers in Lee County Public Schools as what they determined as high-impact teachers. Each teacher received a letter of congratulations from the Department of Education Commissioner Pam Stewart. It's relating to their VAM scores and to the student scores of the students that they taught in the various different grade levels. I wanted to mention all the names of people that are a part of our system that were recognized by this, and so I think it's also important. And if you happen to be in attendance tonight, if you'll stand, and so we can recognize you as well. From Krista McCullough, Carrie Aves. Kathleen Dooley from Krista McCullough. Diane Fenton from Krista McCullough. Michelle Fogel. That's Shannon George from Oasis High School. Matt Loveland. I don't think he's here tonight. We have Lisa Stevens from Oasis High School, Tanya Sykes from Krista McCullough, Kristen Totten from Oasis Middle School, and then we have 2 former employees, which are important because when they received this, it was back data from there. So Amy Elizabeth Reynolds and Melanie Livengood are both former employees. So we had a good showing for that. So very excited. The next item, and I'm going to try to move through these quick, I know we have a lot tonight, but I did want to talk about the Neola for just a moment. I'm bringing it back. You see the shudder of the faces of the folks up here. I just wanted to thank you all for the effort that we've done to get through, and I wanted the audience to kind of get a sense. One of the things that we're looking at is a framework for our rules, the things that make us who we are and how we operate. This is 1/2 of what we've accomplished over the last year, and we just finished last meeting on the 3rd of March. So I just wanted to thank the board. It's been a long haul, and also the staff and the administrative team that's been a part of doing this the whole time. So I would just be remiss. And so for staff members that don't always get an opportunity to know, you will soon have shortly, April-ish we hope, actual bylaws and policies which will be posted, which means now you can go in and find specific rules of how we operate. So I'm really excited, and I just wanted to thank everybody for that. Another round of thanks goes to our website development. I've been promising to get our websites updated. I want to thank Penny Faulkner, who's here tonight. She has spent hours, and I know she has because I'm getting texts at 1 and 2 in the morning, and so she's telling me what am I doing wrong. But it's a lot of work. There's still a lot of work to do with that, and we understand that, but it's a start for consistency across all grade levels. So I just did want to thank her for that as well. And then another maybe cringeworthy but very important thing for me to do is to go real quickly over the advanced ed presentation. I promised to make it quick, but I wanted to just make sure that everybody understood the importance of why and how we do what we need to do. We are, for those in the audience, heading for an advanced ed SACS accreditation process. This is where we have other reviewers come in and basically look at our system and see what we're doing right, what we can do better, and some of the things that we are doing great that we can share with others. So it is an important process. So if you'll click on through there, if you don't mind. The presentation goals here are really just to give you an advanced ed overview. So we'll go ahead and skip the next one, and I'm sorry to do that, but I want to get to the real meat. So we go to the next. What is the system accreditation? And I'm not going to read the PowerPoint to you all here. Clearly, you can do that yourself. But again, what it is it's having an outside group of professionals, and these are people that are going to come look at all our documentation and what they do. More importantly than just us being able to say this is what we do, they actually look and say, all right, how are you documenting what you do? So we can't just say, oh, we do this and practice, and then there's no documentation to support it. So part of like the policies that I showed just a moment ago, that's part of the whole plan. If you'll go on to the next. Here's the real meat of this, the value of system accreditation. Why is it important? I've highlighted the one that I think is the most important, which gives an independent third-party look for community and the public to see validation of our system's work and our areas for improvement. We know we're an A system across the board, but we know we can always do better, and there's things that we can always do better. So that's important. We also know that it sets standards for quality at school and district levels. There's the reciprocity for credit transfer from one school to another, so colleges look for this accreditation. Our high school has undergone the accreditation process, but this will be the first time that our whole system is undergoing the accreditation process. So it is a very important part. If you'll go on, please. And then again, I'm skipping through. If you'll go to the next one even. These are the indicators that we will be assessed on. This is page 7 in your PowerPoint then. There are 5 different standards with indicators throughout. The standards are purpose and direction, governance and leadership, teaching and assessing for learning, resource and support systems, and using results for continuous improvement. So we will be assessed all of these, and every one of these that they'll go through, there's indicators inside of those as well. And so to break that down, I wanted to go into, and if you'll skip on to the next, here, let's take standard 2.2, governance and leadership. I told you all that I would talk a little bit about it. We will talk before they come visit, but what are they going to be looking for specifically? This is just taking one indicator. And under 2, it says the governing body establishes policies and supports practices that ensure effective administration of the system and its schools. Again, on slide 8. So that's just one area. Under that area, we have to actually document all the things that we do to try to do that and to meet that indicator. I'll talk in a minute about how you're going to rate the system yourself so that we get an overall view of this. So you can see there 2.2, 2.3, and each indicator has the same thing. So hence the reason for our policies and procedures to be in place before our site visit. The site visit, just for those in the audience that are interested, they will be arriving in May, and they'll be spending 4 days with us, and they will literally be going through our entire system. They'll be visiting every school. They'll be interviewing governing board members, parents. Some of you may have filled out a survey already. Students they'll be interviewing. So it's a whole system process from the top to the bottom. So it is very important, and I just wanted to keep highlighting that. So again, more of the governance and leadership. We don't need to go through those. Again, it's just for a highlight for you. This is the process that we'll do. And again, for governing board purposes, we'll go through this again at another date, but I just wanted you to kind of see all the parts that were to it. I really wanted the parents and teachers and students to kind of get a sense of what we'll be doing. If you go on there, Jackie. The Elliott observation tool, when actually these folks that are visiting will go through our school, they're looking for these kind of domains within the classroom. So in other words, we can't just say all of our teachers are great and everything's perfect. What they're going to do is actually go in, we'll never know where they're going, which class they're going to be in, and they're going to look for these sorts of things happening. The high expectations, supportive learning, active learning environment, et cetera, et cetera. So there'll be a litany of things that teachers already know to be prepared for. For us, we're lucky it's not going to change our instruction because our teachers are already doing a lot of these things anyway, but it's just an assurance that we are making those. Ultimately, this is the process, and this is the most important. So on page 12, we have been assigned a lead evaluator and an external review team. There are 5 members right now coming from all over the country. We've got one from Virginia who's going to be the lead evaluator. And most of these are retired superintendents or administrators from schools, teachers, etc. They will be looking at all the things that are listed there, the external review process, they will get a findings or a quality score, which I'll show you on the next slide in a second, and then they're going to do an exit report to you. That's where the real meat and potatoes of this comes, because they're going to actually report to the board, here's the things on every indicator that you're doing well, here's the indicators that you need to work on, and here's some things to take for growth, and some things we even will agree that we have to do or change. So that's an important part for that. The IEQ, if you'll just go on to the next slide there, Jackie. This is the index of quality education, or index of education quality. And if you'll go one more slide, Jackie, because this is really what it matters, we will get a score. So on slide 15, if you see, you'll actually get a score, and that is compared to where everybody else is in the network. And so as long as we make a certain score criterion, which we won't know until that day, if we pass, we will be accredited, or recommended, I should say, for accreditation. Then it'll go in front of their people. It takes about 30 days to get back the official report, but I've never had one that's been accredited and then they don't accredit you. So we should be good to go there, but those are the scores that we're looking at. So this is a system-wide, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, we are full bore to this. And I know there's some teachers in here, and if you've been a part of, just to give the board a sense of how much work this is, if you're here in this room and you've been a part of already working on the accreditation, can you stand for me for a moment, please, just so they can see all the administrators as well? The point is, it is so much, and I know that we'll do fine with this, but it's an important part of what's going to be happening. So I just wanted you to understand, we've had a team of about 40 people working on this, and we're meeting, and so it's just, I just wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. So done with the PowerPoint. The next part is for the governing board, just so you all know. You should have a big giant packet. Here's homework. This is what they call the self-assessment workbook for school systems. What this means is, what I'm going to be asking you to do is you're going to go through this book, and you are now going to get to see all the standards. So if you turn 3 pages into this document, it should say Standard 1 at the top. Please go to where you see Standard 1. So as long as everybody's on Standard 1. Standard 1 says the system maintains and communicates at all levels of the organization a purpose and direction, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to look at 1.1 and say, does the system engage in a systematic, inclusive, and comprehensive process of review, revise, and communicate a system-wide purpose for student success? The scores below are 4, 3, 2, 1. So you will rate them either a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1 based on your insight into what that means. It is very open-ended. The purpose of this is not to do it in a group. The purpose is for each of you to score it yourselves. I'll pull that report together, and that's going to be our honest assessment, because part of the advanced accreditation process is not that we're all on the same page, but that we're honest about the assessments we make. So it's important for you to rate these. If you think it's a 3, you make it a 3. If you think it's a 2, it's a 2. We don't overrate ourselves. So in other words, I'd rather see us have the tendency to be more honest about where we feel we are. If we think we're a 2, then we mark a 2. So we're not trying to pad the results here. Below that, just so you get a sense, that's the possible evidence, and that's where the staff and the back have been working so hard to collect evidence to meet all these indicators. So your work, if you will, and I'm hoping in the next week or 2, wishful thinking, I'm sorry.
What date would you like to have?
As soon as possible, because this helps with the report. So I'd say sooner than later, but you're going through and you're just going to rate each one of those indicators. And then I can come pick it up. You can get it at the school, if you can scan it, whatever the easiest way, I'll get it. So.
I don't want to sound like one of my boys, but aren't we a no homework school?
Yeah, we just changed that for a moment.
No homework doesn't mean no study.
That's right, that's right. If we could pick it, again, I know you guys have a lot of things going on, but the reality is Monday or Tuesday, if it can be done by this coming Monday or Tuesday.
Friday, so Monday.
If we can do that, that would be as much as you can. Remember, it's just your assessment, quick and dirty. It doesn't have to be so intensive. It's just because we're going to combine all your scores anyway to one
Are we
board score.
indicating possible evidence, or
You don't have to do that at all, no. That's where I have to go, and everybody that's helping this process have to go, and we now have to show the evidence. If we mark it 3, we have to show evidence of why we mark it 3. If we mark it 2, why we mark it 2. If we mark it 4, on and on. So you can see just by that packet, and every one of those indicators, we have to collect evidence. So it makes the Neola book look small, just so you have an idea. There's usually 5 books in there. So there's a lot of work to be done. So I just, again, wanted to highlight that that's coming. So there we are. So if we can agree to Monday, I would really appreciate it. And Again, I can come pick them up if that's easier for you. It's no problem whatsoever. So on Monday, I can plan that. Just let me know how you'd like to do that.
What's Monday's date?
14, thank you. So we just thought Neola's done, and here we are. So now for the next meeting, I just wanted to remind all you all and those in the audience, there's some things that I'm really excited about and what we're going to try to push forward. And you know, the TSA is a great example of what may be included in our budget and how we do our budget workshop this year will be a little bit different because we will have a workshop. The principals are going to be able to come state the case for the things that they are interested in having and adding, and so the board will have say in terms of, it's all of us that are making part of this budget. So instead of bringing you a kind of a closed process and here we are, it's going to be right up in the open. So we'll talk about at the beginning of that workshop how we're going to run that so that it works smoothly and so you can see. But the principals have been tasked with bringing what it is that they need, and that's the goal. So we're looking forward to that. Yes.
Our names or?
I don't even need your names on that. I just need it back. So no, I don't need your names at all. No, don't need your names. It doesn't matter because it's going to be compiled all together. So I won't need your names. So. The final thing that I have under the superintendent report, which was the longest I've ever given, is I did want to recognize we have some changing of the guard, if you will, and we have a couple of our governing board members who have been serving with us and doing such a great job on our board, and unfortunately their time has come to an end. So I do want to recognize, and I want to do it one at a time, but I want to do it differently than we did last time. I want to ask the entire governing board to come to the front, and I want to recognize, and I'll start with Ms. Anderson first, for your time working with our system and appreciating everything that you've done. Your service has been invaluable for really, and you see the results and the fruit of your labor over the time is this and the growth that we've had. So I can't express to you enough for what we've done, for what you've done for our system. And Daryl, I want to thank you as well. You've been a part of this system for a very long time, and I want to thank you for what you've done for our system, especially on the financial side, looking at our budgets and trying to get grants and secure those. So what I'm going to ask you to do is basically everybody come to the front real fast. I've got some placards to give, and then we'll take a picture, and then we will.
Cushion chairs.
All right, we got to get closer. Oh my gosh, you got good.
Put your head down.
You hold it up higher, my chin looks better.
And that concludes the superintendent. If there are any questions?
Anybody who doesn't normally come, they might talk like that.
Yes, all the time.
Well, and at that high rate of speed, because I'm sure I remember everything you said. I know I wrote down my dates, so I'm good about that. Oh, that's not my microphone. I also would like to thank Tammy and Daryl for all their hard work. They've been around since the very beginnings. When did your daughter start?
Oh my gosh, I've been here since she started 6th grade and she's a junior at FGCU, so a very long time. She said, "Mom, you're staying longer than me."
And Daryl, how long have you been around?
8 years.
8 years. So, yes, we come, we stay, we do. And hopefully all of you will also. All right, my chairman report is not going to be anywhere near what Nelson's report was. My chairman report was, he took all my thunder, other than the fact that we had a little bus incident the other day, and we were all informed, and I'm thankful for that. Nothing was wrong. We didn't do anything wrong, and we just want to get that out there, because sometimes there's some rumors flying around. And believe it or not, there was a rumor that my son was transferring schools. He is not. So just right from the horse's mouth, he is not transferring schools. All right, and then the foundation report would be similar to what you already told us, other than, Mr. Hook, would you like to talk about the rally for us? Or is,
I don't know.
I know, and I was missing you.
Good evening, Steve Hook, Oasis Elementary. The foundation and the 4 elementaries are working very well together. Ticket sales are in full swing. We've had very good support from the community with regard to sponsorships and things, and so the event is March 20th from noon till 6 p.m. We'll do the raffle drawing about 5 p.m. in the evening. The inclusive Jamaican vacation is the top prize, or $6,500, and then we have 20 other great prizes we're giving away. We've got great entertainment that day. I can never remember the names of the bands, but
Post Monroe.
thank you, Post Monroe.
Yeah,
The voice from the back of my head keeps but great entertainment that day. We have both local and some national talent that will be featuring. Great food, and we're having a poker run also. So it'll end up and conclude back at the German American Club. So it's going to be a great day. Right now, the ticket sales are about $40,000, and then that needs to be increased by about 50 or 60 over the next week and a half. So sell those tickets. Thank you.
And I can tell you that my Publix has a sign out front, so whoever got that sign at a Publix, thank you very much, because yeah, it's right on the front window and it's very easy to see. Public comment. Do we have anybody who would like, all of you? Do we have any registered? Keep it up.
Jean?
Riccadella.
12 letters in all.
Are you really considered the public? I think you're an honorary member.
I'm a something. Jean Riccadella, proud parent of elementary and a 5th grade TSA member. So I stand here in a different role because I'm aware most of you know my other role. I'm here as a parent. I had the wonderful experience of being a chaperone, and it was wonderful most of the time. But I got to meet these boys, and I got to spend 5 days with these boys and girls. I'm so sorry, Molly Rose, you're not sitting with the group. And there were other girls on the trip. There were 4 other girls on the at the competition. But I was a first-hand witness to watch integrity and character. I was a first-hand witness to see team building and communication skills, problem solving, autonomy, and critical thinking. I believe when I left, and my husband also was a chaperone there, what we really saw was the lesson we could learn from these children, and it was really humbling. Our students at Oasis were there outsourced, out-financed, out-peopled. I mean, we had 27, and most chapters had 40 to 80. They have classes for this. They are doing it from the beginning of the school year till the end of the school year. Our children are doing 45 minutes in a club. The middle schoolers have risen and been leaders to our 5th graders, and our 5th graders have in turn evolved into such, yes, Alex, Diego, I agree with you quite. And we've got Nick and we've got Lawrence, and I can name all of you. I ask that we look and not settle for mediocrity any longer. I ask that we shoot for excellence. I think we should demand it. We need to for our children. These children were the epitome of what our schools stand for. And as I said, there were some lessons I learned from those students up there. So if the TSA is a club, what they did, what they brought home, imagine what could happen for so many more if it were a class offered to the middle school and the high school. So I thank you for your time, and I have to mention that the April budget workshop is a great time to have a conversation about this. Got to throw that in there, because I do pay attention. And Pasha, I'm going to borrow your line, because I'm going to challenge all of you to make our children number 1 and to push them forward, because they rose to the challenge. Now it's our turn. And we still have number 1 spirit, guys and girls.
I have a question, because I know that you all said that there are corporate people who are interested in what you're doing. First of all, TSA is very odd name because when I think of TSA, it's something completely different and I just flew to Mexico. So.
You're the name first.
Yeah. Is there a way for us to approach a corporate sponsor to help pay for us to have a class? Do you gentlemen and ladies know of a way for us to approach?
I'm certainly willing to seek that avenue. I mean, it's not anything that's not been done at the other schools for sure. Partnering with the community and business sponsors, I mean, these are their future workforce. It's an investment. It's not a donation by any standard, it's an investment. So that's absolutely an avenue that should be explored, for sure.
All right, so we'll look for some suggestions from you as to who we should knock on their door. And I'm not good at asking for money, I can tell you that.
I am.
I
have no pride.
She's good at asking. I'm really bad about it, I just give the money. Okay, any other public comment?
Rich Valente. Got a few Italians here.
Hi, I'm Rich Valente. My son is Logan. He's in 7th grade at Oasis Middle. And I also was a chaperone on TSA trip. I'm just going to read the email that I sent to the superintendent and the high school and middle school principals. So it was my pleasure to chaperone last week's trip to the 2016 Florida TSA conference in Orlando with Mr. and Mrs. Nowicki's TSA team. I said the OMS team had a strong showing at the conference, but the lack of our high school participation is sorely needed, in my opinion. The way the conference worked was there was middle school events and there was high school events, so we weren't involved in any of the high school events at all. The conference showed that some districts are really putting great resources behind the TSA programs, particularly Manatee County, and the quality of their work and the 5+ hours a week that they can put into the projects reflected this. I'd love to see the program expanded and the resources made available to make this a full-time program in both OMS and OHS. As this really is where tomorrow's technical workforce is coming from. There were 1,600 students at this conference, and I was told last year it was 1,200. So the growth for Florida in this avenue is apparent. I'm a network administrator at a law firm downtown Fort Myers. I'm not really a tech, our company's not a tech company, but there's, Mr. Nowicki knows, I mean, there's many tech companies in the area. And some of the events at the conference as well weren't even technology oriented. It was like children's storybook writing, things like that that were a little outside web design. Which is, the kids did a fantastic job, and I'd like to see it further. Thank you.
Dan Lamadou.
Good evening, my name is Dan Lamadou. Christian is my son. I'd like to second the motion to lower the presidential age. It's really good. Excellent idea. I can't speak any better than the students did as far as their enthusiasm and participation for this program. And since it's an occupational hazard of mine to have a propensity toward verbosity, I have just a couple of comments I'd like to make regarding this. And that was, it was my privilege to not only be the parent of a TSA student this year, but also to attend the state TSA conference in Orlando just a couple of weeks ago. I was observing not only through the lens of a parent, but also as someone who values education and as one who understands the value of such a program to a maturing adolescent student. As a chaperone, it's my great privilege to watch these students engage in all their activities. I spent many years of my career working with teenagers in various venues, including the inner city, military kids, in both a rural and suburban context. It became readily apparent to me that the most well-adjusted of these students were those who had well-rounded influence of mentors and peers who contributed to their intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual, physical, volitional, habitual, and societal development. I was excited to watch many of these values emerge through the TSA program. The advanced planning, goal setting, teamwork, and discipline exhibited by these students was evident in their preparation as well as the actual competition. Only by being there and observing could one truly appreciate watching over 27 students head to multiple events throughout the day, not as one large group, but as many small groups, going where they needed to go, doing what they needed to do, and cheering one another along the way. Values of personal responsibility, time management, mutual encouragement, teamwork, and celebration of one another's victories were evident throughout the entire competition. But there is something else that builds confidence in our students, and that is success. Any endeavor is embraced when there is a greater possibility of success and achievement. Trophies are but a measure of believing that you were given the opportunity to do your best on a level playing field. Right now, that playing field is not level. Our students compete against others who have TSA as a class, not as a club. Why not give them a level playing field? Provide valuable instruction and familiarity with emerging technology, and reward the successes of these hardworking coordinators, the Nowickies, and the students who labored with them by affirming the value of TSA as a class. If offered as a class with curriculum based around the technologies accentuated in this program, this would give the time and preparation necessary to invest their best. These values would be augmented by a sense of having received the confidence of this governing board that their efforts have been worthwhile and of immeasurable value. I would urge you to invest in the academic, social, affiliative, and cooperative efforts of the TSA program, which deserves nothing less than our full support and the opportunity to succeed on a level playing field as our students soar with excellence in education and enrollment. I would note, I forget the slide number, but I believe 6 of those requirements, 3 of those that were listed were a high expectations classroom, a highly supportive classroom, and a digital technology classroom, if I recall correctly. TSA encompassed all of those and more, and I believe that you're working towards your goals with what you're doing in accreditation, but also with the life of these students in providing this as a class and greater opportunity for the students. So thank you.
Kathy Rivendera.
Hello, my name is Kathy Rivadeneira, and I'm the theater teacher here at Christa McCulloch, but I have been asked to read a letter on behalf of several of the staff and teachers here at Christa McCulloch. This letter was written after the January board meeting on January 26th of 2016, and then was signed by many of the staff members here at Christa McCulloch. After watching the video of the board meeting last week, several CME teachers are concerned with how a particular situation was handled. First and foremost, we would like to address the fact that these meetings are held during a time when teachers cannot attend. Had more teachers witnessed this meeting, there would have been many more who would be opposed to what had occurred. Teachers would like to see the meeting times changed. As professionals, we are required to act in a certain manner. We try to do this on a daily basis for our students and parents. When we see our own board members act in a way contrary to this standard, it causes concern and embarrassment. We have worked hard as a system to form a stellar reputation in our community, and these types of actions potentially will unravel what we have worked so hard to achieve. What happened at this meeting is public knowledge and public record, documented with both video and in meeting minutes. We appreciate those on the board who tried to maintain order and focus, but it was not lost on us the intentions of this particular individual towards our principal. We would like to clarify that the opinion of the students being unsafe or field trips being discriminatory is by no means the general opinion of CME staff. We believe our students are quite safe under our administration. We believe our administration is supportive of the gifted curriculum, which offers extra field trips, as well as supportive of our general education. This has always been the case, and nothing has been added or taken away in a number of years to cause any sudden concern or even begin to indicate discrimination in any way. Please consider this a public response on behalf of certain staff members that we adamantly disagree with the actions and damaging accusations of the board member who questioned our principal. This was uncalled for and potentially slanderous, considering it is a public meeting. We are 100% confident in our administration's ability to keep children safe and to provide field trips for all students within the curriculum established at Christa McCulloch Elementary School. Thank you.
Krista Zivkovic.
I am Dr. Krista Zivkovic, mother of Nicholas Zivkovic on the TSA group, as well as I'm wearing 2 hats today. Thank you all for your time. I know it's after hours, you have families. We appreciate all that you do for us. The first reason I wanted to be here is to support the TSA group. Mr. and Mrs. Nowicki have been amazing, as you can tell, just the way they appear, the way they hold themselves, and they're just a small portion of how great our school system is. And their efforts do need to be congratulated, I think, yet again. My son Nicholas has been on TSA for 2 years now. He is, of course I'm biased, he's my child, but he is one of the most amazing and bright people that I know. He can help with anything technologically. He takes his time where most kids are playing Xbox, and he's creating websites. He's making things that are above and beyond my knowledge, my recognition, and he's able to help us with anything that we need. And that's partly because of what he does here, partly what he does on his own, but definitely due to the influence of Mr. Nowicki and the TSA group. His confidence has grown. He went from a 6th grade doing one little activity in the group last year, and this year he's an officer, and he has really soared in what he's been able to do. Again, the opportunity has been there, but it's very small. They get very little time once a week, and then they go for a competition, which they get to go away for a few days and really show their stuff. But I think being able to, like everyone else has kind of said, give them an opportunity throughout the year. Not everyone loves sports. Not everyone loves everything else. They're mostly, I would assume mostly of them are in STEM because they want to be there, but that T part is technology, and it is lacking. They have half of 1 year, half of a technology class, so they need more. And this is what the future is. Look at everyone has a cell phone in this room. I can almost guarantee that. Technology is here, it's growing. So it's something that if we can get that into the school, again, we're a selling point for the city. We have an amazing system, and let's make it even more amazing on that front. So again, I support and ask your support for a middle and high school class so that these kids can really kind of shine more and do what they enjoy while they're also teaching us an awful lot as well. So that's the one thing. On the other reason I'm here is for, I volunteer now as Oasis Middle School track coach, assisting Coach Montag, and we are running on a grass field, which does not look like a track, but we have very imaginative and creative students who we have to kind of tell them, yes, those 4 cones are the corners of the track, and you need to run and try to stay in a lane, and imagination goes so far. Right now, from what I understand, the City of Cape Coral has a little bit of excess in their funding, and from what I understand from inside sources, it might be a good time to ask for that funding specifically for a track and field arena or sports complex at the middle and high school level so that we can get the kids on actual grounds, again, make level field playing grounds, not just for technology, but for sports too. We have bright kids in our system, and we are losing bright kids to other schools because we don't offer certain sports. We don't offer equal time and ability for them to do what they want to do. So as middle school coach, I'm seeing kids leaving to other schools unnamed for sports reasons. So if we can keep them here, we have a beautiful campus, we have the ability, we have the fields behind, we need to develop them. I know that's been spoken about before, and plans are probably already drawn up, but we need money. And again, my request to you is to please ask the city for funding so that we can get this project started before these little guys are not with us and they're outside school. So let's try to move on that. We've got top, A-rated school, top students, and I think that if we can make a track and field arena, we'll keep these very bright and very talented students here at home. Thank you.
Okay, that's all for our public comment. So we'll move to staff and board comments. Would you like to start us off?
Start with board comments.
It's up to you. What would you like to do? I wanted to start with board comments because I had a question, but Mrs. Zakovic ran off too fast.
I called her back up. I'd like to start with board comments, see if that's okay.
Okay.
Can you guys use your mics so I can hear it?
Sorry. Mrs. Zakovic, can you come back up to the front? It's like, no. My question for you was,
Yes.
I know when, I think it was last month's board meeting, your husband had said that you were doing a career shadow and you had,
Oh, that's another how I wear, yes.
yeah, what can you tell us about that?
Sure. Is this on?
Yes.
Part of the high school, it's, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Mrs. Nochi. Had approached me. I am a physician locally. I own a private practice, which is kind of rare these days, not a part of a group. And I was approached to see if I would accept students in my office to shadow me to see what medicine is like. Not that they necessarily want to be a physician, but they are interested in the medical field. So we just started actually a few weeks ago. Right now I have one high school senior who does come along with me. Of course, we, express the importance of HIPAA and keeping everything within the realms of the office and not speaking of anything. But they do shadow me with the patients. They get to observe shots being given, vitals being taken, history collected, and then I get time to speak with them about the process of how I make medical decisions. So they kind of get from when a patient checks in to a patient checks out what we do. And again, I have just one with me now. I know another one did go over to, I think through Lee Memorial, pediatric nurse did offer a time too. So it's just giving my time and effort back to the community, and again, trying to train people to be the best that they can. I try to also include real world information about what to do financially and how to make decisions and really just give them an opportunity to ask any questions about anything.
Well, thank you. That's what I mainly wanted to say. Thank you. It's extra time that you don't have to get. Thank you.
You're
And,
welcome.
I know
It's
you don't
something
have to do it, and you enjoy doing it, and thank you very much. Did anybody else have a question for Dr. Zukovic before I send her back to us?
Is this done throughout the year or one time a year, or how does it work?
As far as I understand, these students have this particular class for a quarter. So right now, again, he will be with me for a period of weeks. And when he's done, then I probably will speak with her again about whether another student's coming or not. So it's not a full year thing. Honestly, they come in that period of class where they normally would be having the internship class. I guess once they do their beginning things, then they come out into the community. So I know that from what they said, there's other students going into different areas, and it's of their interest.
We'll start on your end with board comments then. We'll start with the Z's today.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. It's nice to be here in the evening and have some other folks with us, because our meetings are generally pretty lonely.
Very.
What I'd like to do is just, I guess, give you my opinion and ask for your help and challenge you as well. Some of you have asked for our help. And so you understand at least what I think the board is responsible for and what we do. We're a liaison from the city. We're appointed by city council to help oversee our charter school system. We have very limited power. What we need you to do, and just, Mr. Nowicki, if you're good at asking for money, I would dress these guys up, and I would go to a city council meeting. And what Dr. Zukovic alluded to is the city council has been kind to us, right? They've added a tax to our electric bills, we've got a fire assessment tax, our property values have climbed, so they've got some bucks to share. We do get funding part of our funding from tax dollars that come back to us. The Lee County School Board is elected to keep some of that we don't get back. Now, we're trying to work with Mr. Stevenson and negotiate with the city to get some of that back into our system, but we do more, and our schools are rated, our students are fantastic, and we do a heck of a lot more, in my opinion, with a lot less. So what we need to do is go to the folks with the money and be loud and ask them so we can support them. In terms of the TSA portion of this, to me, TSA epitomizes what a STEM program is about. It wraps it all together. When I saw last year, we had a young man qualified for the national competition in the speech section. And that's awesome, because like Mr. Nowicki said, having knowledge is one thing. Being able to express that knowledge or share that and teach others is a whole other thing. I commend you on bringing in the fifth graders. That was not a strategic move for competition, but it's great because of the growth. You know, Dr. Zakota, I think one of her teachers, they used to say, see one, do one, teach one. And when you're able to teach, and our teachers know this a lot better than I do, it solidifies your knowledge. It makes you feel better. And it was neat to watch Nick Quintana talk about the fifth graders with pride. And that's fun to see. So congratulations to you guys. And Mr. Nowicki, my challenge is to take this, to keep this going. I know that there's some talk with the high school and making this more of a class, and I certainly support this adjustment to our curriculum. And when you're talking to the city council, and you can email them, you know, we can be a loud voice in a lot of different ways. You don't necessarily have to go, you can email them, you can have a lot of people email them, it's worked before. And remember, this is a lot more exciting than planting a median, right? The normal stuff they get requests for are pretty mundane, but those things get money because those people show up and they ask for it, right? So we have to do the same. You can't, you know, there are good intentions, but we got to follow that up with some action. I want to thank the teachers for coming up here and speaking your voice. Appreciate that. That, I think, was it. One last thing. We talked about the White House Awards and White House Award winners. And Mr. Nowicki, I've said this about you before when you're not here. What's neat about you and this group is how you inspire the kids. You know, there's a lot more to teaching. We've got a lot of teachers in the back of the room that I know personally that are great teachers. And it's not only because you can get the lesson across, it is because you excite the kids about what they're learning and you do inspire them. So thank you all for what you do.
First off, I did a little bit of research while I was listening because I wanted to understand a few of the things, and I had questions that I wanted answered before I spoke about TSA. And I was really surprised to see with over 2,000 schools, 49 states dealing with TSA, over 233,000 students. This is definitely something we need to look at expanding. Partnerships I thought of could be Microsoft, Sony, Samsung, Dell, Apple. Public-private partnerships happen all the time, and this is actually something that also Mr. Stevenson and I actually studied since we have the same degree. Public-private partnerships may really be the way to fund TSA as well as with grants. Looking at TSA and understanding it a little bit better than I do about 30 minutes ago, I truly believe that TSA should be a part of STEM. If STEM includes technology, why shouldn't we have a full-time technology class that's offered to those students and any other students that would like to be a part of it? We had spoken at some point, administrators, about doing a STEM academy at some point, or expanding or going full STEM over at the middle school. That may be a really good idea. You might want to look into it. There's plenty of funding out there. We have the resources. We know where to go find the funds, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Looking at the funds coming forward this next coming year, my personal opinion is that we're going to see less money coming, but we can obtain those funds to do this program. If the parents come out strongly and push on the administration, which I don't think will be very difficult, I think the administration likes the idea. Sorry, Mr. Van. Maybe we can get Oasis Middle School to be all STEM classes. Today is my last day on this board. I am really thankful I had this opportunity to be on this board. I met some amazing people, teachers, administrators, and students. And I wish you all the best of luck, and I'm glad I was a part of this great system. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much to the young people that are here today for TSA. I think a big part of the reason why we have such a large group attending our board meeting is not because of us, it's because of you. So thank you for showing up tonight. We appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to thank was congratulate, of course, the Lighthouse Award winners, but also to the other teachers that participated in the Lighthouse Awards. Foster Donaldson and I were part of the different observation committees, and I will tell you that it is a very tough job because we really do have top-notch teachers. So we have to have an overall winner, but you're all a winner in our book. I also wanted to thank Kelly Jackson. She was from the foundation, the one that coordinates the whole Lighthouse Award idea. So thank you, Kelly, for keeping us on track and getting us excited. We appreciate that. The last thing, I know that it was brought up in terms of evening meetings. We have 2 evening meetings a year to try to incorporate, to try to allow parents and teachers and stuff to participate. If we could have assurances that we would have equal participation in evening meetings, I mean, we certainly, I don't think it would be an issue for us to try to do more meetings in the evening. But I will tell you, I've been on this board, this is starting my 4th year, and this is the most people I've ever seen here. So, you know, it's a hardship on me to come in the evening to be with, but certainly if we know that parents and teachers are actually going to come and be active participants in the meeting, I think that the board would certainly be able to, you know, to work on that and try to offer more, maybe not all of them in the evening, but at least maybe more than 2. Sure. So that's what I have to say there.
I think everybody took my thunder, so I'll do ditto, ditto, ditto. But I do want to say thank you to the students. I mean, it's such a thrill to see this, and we're retired teachers, so we know what it is to look at kids and watch them grow and perform and feel good about themselves, and that's what it's all about, is the whole child, not just the academic child, but truly the whole child. And I don't think we mentioned the parents enough, so I'd like the parents to stand up and get a round of applause, please. Very good, now pass the mic.
I have my own.
I'm just going to tell them that if I'd have been in TSA, I would have had a whole lot better public speaking ability. They con me into being the chairperson, and I have to talk in a group, and it's very hard for me, so maybe you all can give me some pointers, especially you guys that stood without even looking at your cards and looked directly at us and were able to communicate everything you wanted to say, because I had a lot of trouble doing that. So,
thank you. Ditto that. I have a 4- and a 5-year-old, and I hope that they grow up to be as innovative and intelligent and confident as you kids are. Very impressive. On that note, I am definitely in support of expanding TSA. I would say be cautious if you're going to go to council. If you are going to, please talk to me first. Because,
Well, please tell them it's.
okay, I'm a council member. I'm the liaison. Just so that's clear, I'm a liaison to the governing board. We do have a couple of new taxes that people are talking about, not taxes, one's an assessment and one's a public service tax, but they're being used to catch up on capital projects. All the road paving that you're seeing being done, that's from that money. We bought new fire trucks, so I just don't want people to think that the city has just a room full of money and we can take it. I know, if they did, I would know where it was. Yes, and we set policy here on this board. So I think a better route would be grants or corporate sponsorships. I think that'd be great, because a company would be happy to go year after year, whereas government, you can't be sure what's going to happen year after year. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ditto, 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 all the way down the line. It has been an absolute pleasure to be part of the system and to serve on this board. And I have to tell you, when I walked in tonight, knowing it was my last night, what a thrill to see all of your faces. I would do this every single month, because it's, all of you are why we're here. So congratulations. Job well done. Very, very proud to sit up here. And you are the best representation our system could possibly have. So congratulations to all of you and your parents and the teachers and just the system in general. It's been a real distinct pleasure. So thank you.
Yeah, ditto. Congratulations to the TSA. You guys and gals are absolutely amazing. I know the amount of work that went into what you did both after school and what you took home and worked on. Well-deserved awards. I also support expanding TSA, the benefits of it. I don't even think the discussions here have scratched the surface of the benefits of this group and this type of work. I do want to see us clone Mr. Nowicki so that he can make sure that he goes to both high school. So you guys will have to work on that cloning project next year. Also, this has been, it's been a great meeting. I'm going to tell you, this is the first time I teared up, not once but twice. Twice I almost cried. Once listening to the young men speak, and the other seeing the teachers back there standing in support. Thank you. So this has been wonderful.
All right, moving on.
Only because I get to announce the Director of Procurement and Food Services.
I apologize.
Wait,
I know. Danielle's trying to get home, I know. But real quickly, even though you can't attend a meeting, doesn't mean that you can't reach out to us. We all have emails. I think a lot of us are willing to share our phone numbers. You can get to us even if you can't go there. I know. So please don't think that just because you can't attend, if it's during the day or something like that, that you don't have a voice at all. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, good stuff. I'll let you pass on that.
Hurry, hurry.
Come on, Danielle, hurry up. Before somebody else wants to say something.
Now it's exciting stuff, food service and procurement. Danielle Jensen, Director of Procurement and Food Service. Starting with food service, January numbers were favorable to budget. Our year-to-date revenues were slightly down, but have gained against budget, and we are still very favorable in our expenses. We have had a little challenge this month with the freezer going down at OES. The compressor went down, and it's still under warranty, but it's going to take a week to 10 days to get down. To get in and get repaired. So as a team, we've been working to share freezer space and change our orders this week to make this work. This is just highlighting another reason it would be to benefit to purchase a walk-in freezer that OMS and OES could share. With our limited spaces in our kitchens, we basically have one major freezer. So when one goes down, that's it. So, it's been a real challenge, but my team is making it work, but it's something that I want to focus on purchasing this year. And then I also worked on submitting my budget, which we will be reviewing in next month's budget meeting. As far as procurement, we finally have completed the contracts for our new landscaping vendors, and they will be starting, they've already started their initial inspections, and they will be doing their first cuts, so I'm excited that we're going to get this started with some new vendors at each campus. I'm also continuing to work on getting quotes for the $100,000 list. We have completed the OMS gym curtain, and that installation was done. So now we finally have the separation between our elementary and middle school students. So I know that makes parents happy as well. We will also continue focusing on getting the AC quotes, and that's got projects across the 4 campuses. We also met with our security vendor, and they helped us focus on what our long-term goals should be for security. And so we are looking at how we're going to implement and purchase some cameras this year with the money we have that will work in that long-term goal. We have also been working with the city IT. We have John Carrington, which has been very helpful to our system. He's been working with our IT team, which is headed by Steve Burley, and we are working on the specs to do the IT infrastructure project that Mr. Stevenson will be explaining and going into a little bit more detail later. That's been a big project. That's been, since I've been, that's one of the biggest projects we've worked on since I've been doing this role for the 3 years. So we're excited about this project. It's going to get the infrastructure where it needs to be, but it has taken a lot of work to kind of get it there. So our goal is to hopefully submit it either late to next week and get the RFP process going through the city. And with that goal, then we would be looking to purchase the equipment in June and getting it installed over the summer. So it's a very tight time frame, but our team will pull together and make it happen.
Questions? Question? No lights are on.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, what you got there?
All right.
Got a new
Travis
dress or
Collins, principal at Christopher College. I'm going to make this very short and sweet tonight. I see a lot of tired faces. I'm proud of my school this year because they have raised so much money for so many different events. We've had a great K-Kids group this year run by one of our kindergarten teachers, Melissa Meehan, and a first grade teacher, Teresa Burley. And they, Melissa, are you here? Our K-Kids Award, raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and this was awarded to them for raising $3,000. Wow. Pennies for patients. doing Wounded Warriors Boot Camp, which is coming in May. The 2 elementary schools will do that, and they will raise money by selling T-shirts to go to the Wounded Warriors Anglers Club out in Mount Lachey. We worked with them last year. It was great. We're going to do it again this year. And the rally is ringing through, and we're doing a wonderful job. We have raised $13,567 to date. It's amazing what you can do. Like I always say, it's amazing what a child will do to wear regular street clothes every day. They will sell a $20 ticket. He's up. Also, we're working on the accreditation process, which is tedious. It requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of data collection. But not only that, it also requires that we meet with our stakeholders and we discuss where we are, what our philosophies are, what our vision and mission statements are. And it's very important that every stakeholder knows what we're all about. So part of our evidence that we're going to be showing is from Mrs. Stafford's first grade classroom. Her students have memorized the vision and mission statement. So if you would turn around, I'm going to show you. It's very quick how great they are.
What is our vision?
The dreams of future. We believe that everyone can succeed and reach their dreams and personal visions.
And what's our mission?
Partnering for excellence.
Awesome, good job.
And that's pretty much it. That has taken up all our time.
Any questions? Nope, no lights are on. Woo! Thank you. Good job. Okay. Oh, you're the helper tonight. I love it.
Hello, Steve Hook, Oasis Elementary, and my friend Hallie Treese.
And I love your boots.
I think Mr. Hook has the same pair.
I do. I get outclassed in fashion by her and outclassed in presentation by Mrs. Collins. So I look both ways this evening, so it's good. I too want to congratulate the TSA team and the Oasis students and Oasis Middle School students who participated. Mr. and Mrs. Nowicki and lots of people put in endless hours to make that happen, and we're very proud of you and very proud of what you've done. We've had obviously the MIND team, another problem-solving team, went to competition this past weekend, and our team, all teams did very well, but our, I can't remember the name of the team, I just forgot, sorry. But they were 3rd place, and they will go to state competition, so that's always great. We've had, we finished up Shrek, and had great returns and great reviews on Shrek. I'm up for a Golden Globe, I want you to know. We had a very interesting BBK registration over the past weeks, and we had a little newsworthy time and a lot of neat families and people coming that way. Our PTO has been in full swing, and like Jackie said, we're just, the money they raise and the things they do for our kids is just, we couldn't do without. And so I'm very proud. And Jean is almost like a staff member. She's there as much as most staff people, and she and her officers are just really an attribute to our organization. We are Mr. Fennell and Mrs. Cheney and the team have been working diligently on Advanced Ed. Everyone loves accreditation. And, I think my Sioux State poem was accreditation. No, I can't do it. Never mind. No, you're boss is right. And we've been focusing a lot of our money and things towards robotics and towards coding and towards a lot more technology in the classroom. So a lot of the things our PTO have done, we purchased a number of small robots that you can do coding. We're using clickers and a number of other things in the classroom. And so that is our goal is to expand the horizon and look at things differently. You know, technology is not just something fun to do. It's an integral part of what we do every day. And to integrate it into the classrooms and make those resources available to teachers has been our overall goal. So it's going to be fun to work with Krista McCullough at the Wounded Warriors boot camp. we will end up being $1 ahead of them because I take care of the money for the rally, so.
Sorry.
Is your light on?
Yes.
Okay.
I apologize.
Mr. Hook, where did you go?
You know what, you can stay back there. I know it takes a long time to get there.
It's so rude. I think you can file a complaint, but.
I love it. You dish it, you got to take it.
You talked about coding, and I think in our legislature this year, they passed coding as a language. Now, I'm no curriculum guy, but if that's a way we can tie in our TSA class into the curriculum by using that.
One of the great things about our, as you all have alluded to, is our system is how well we all function together. And so Mrs. Treese and Mr. Graham and I and Mrs. Collins regularly have these discussions about ways that we can work that and make it a K-12 focus. So that is one of our overall things that when we sit down and talk about budget and those things, that's exactly what we'll bring to you. So.
Any other lights? No. Thank you, Mr. Hook. Okay, Mr. Graham. It's been a couple months since I've seen you.
It has been. Good evening. Keith Graham, Principal of Oasis Middle School. Lots of things to talk about tonight. We had our FSA rights exam not too long ago, and it went without a glitch. I thank Mr. Terrio for setting up all the computer rooms and all the technology that needed to pull that off, and Mrs. O'Reilly, our guidance counselor / testing coordinator / master scheduler / everything at the school. She worked very hard to create a schedule that doesn't impact, or tries not to impact the teachers and kids too much, but it went very well, so I thank them. Our STEM groups went down to the yacht club last week or 2 weeks ago when they participated in the sea perch activities. It was awesome. It was good to see Mr. Stevenson there, some board members there, and a lot of parents. I thank them. A lot of parents and volunteers were there to help out and get those rolling. It was fantastic. It really is a great experience. The kids remember that for a long time to come. And again, Ms. McLean does a fantastic job again with that class and setting some things up. Our Odyssey of the Mind group as well with Mrs. Fox did well. They competed in the regional tournament. It was held at Riverdale. They worked to create a skit and a balsa wood structure. They scored the second highest spontaneous score for the skit in their division. And they have no prep for that. They're told that day at that time what they need to do, and they put together something and pull it off. So it was quite an accomplishment. They placed 5th overall for the balsa wood structure. Congratulations to Ms. Yoder. You all approved for her to take a group of kids to the Youth in Government. That was in Haines City, Florida, and that event was attended over by 120 students from across the state. Middle school students did an outstanding job. They had, with their bills making it to the second committee level, they had 4 students able to move their bills the whole way through the legislative process to the full House and Senate. 4 other students wrote bills that were passed by the Senate of the General Assembly of Students. Bill passage is a high honor and a great accomplishment because typically only 10 bills pass over that whole assembly. One of the students received an award for writing the best piece of legislation in the House of Representatives. Oasis Middle had 3 students invited to participate in the Y Corps service trip this summer. That's a big deal. The trip participants have an opportunity to travel across the state to complete projects and accumulate over 40 hours of community service to put onto their resumes. That goal is to take the lessons of servant leadership to the citizens of Florida. So congratulations to everybody there. Of course, these fantastic folks here, ladies and gents beside me. Mr. Nowicki, again, just outstanding. His wife do a fantastic job. And again, I thank the volunteers and all the chaperones that went along with that trip. Mr. Nowicki and I got together. We talked quite a bit, as much as we possibly can, actually. He was telling me about some of the parents have some eye-opening experiences and realize just what it takes to pull off a field trip like that, of that magnitude. And that. So congratulations to those guys. It's probably a very good time, though, and no time like the president to let everybody know, and I'm not going to step on the toes of other principals, but Mr. Nowicki actually is this year's City of Cape Coral Chamber of Commerce award recipient. And he's just learning that, so that's the first time announcement. So that's like, couldn't think of a better time or place. Presently, we also go through advanced accreditation. It does make me look forward to spring break without a doubt. It is a fun process. Also want to say that we're taking, I'm taking Mrs. McLean and Mrs. Perfidio to San Diego. Ms. Teresa and Ms. Sanford are going to go out there to Deeper Learning Conference. It's going to take place at a high-tech high school out there in San Diego. It's in a lot of interactive workshops, a lot of presentations and different workshops and innovative maker spaces, and preparing students for college and careers of tomorrow to create new ideas, and take a look and see how they're doing some things and see what we can bring back as far as just a deeper scale of learning. A lot of technology, a lot of integration with engineering and whatnot, but also across the curriculum. So it'll be a very interesting conference to go to. The rally's in full swing. We have collected so far $7,750. We believe that's more than Oasis Elementary, Mr. Hook?
Just like some of the front runners in the candidates find out.
Bring it on. I think that's the first time we are ahead of you, so I just want to make that up. The parents, your concerns and your comments don't go unheard for sure. I talked to Mr. Noki as much as humanly possible because he's just a great resource. But I just give you a little bit of plans of what we're doing and what we're at this so far for next year's plans. I have no intentions at all to do away with TSA. In fact, I'm looking to increase it. With Mr. Nowicki's help, kind of help me find somebody out there who can come in and teach that as a class, and it's going to be to everybody. So hopefully your membership's going to increase to about 840 or so. So I'm hoping that happens. Again, he's got the resources and the connections, so he's going to continue to help me out here and find somebody that we can bring in to continue this without a doubt. And then on the STEM side of things, a lot of concerns there too. I'm also looking to expand STEM program. I'm going to bring in a whole other section of kids to the 6th grade at this point. It's going to bring in, I need another engineering teacher to handle that load, hoping to do that. But also that engineering teacher is going to not only teach that section of STEM kids, but also be put into the schedule so he or she can teach those skills to everybody as an elective to sort of get their feet wet in that process. So hoping to do that as well. So again, we're doing a lot of good things and bringing in the technologies and the engineering and tomorrow into today, I hope. So there's a lot of plans going on. It takes a lot of different things, and the technology infrastructure is going to play a major, ginormous role in that. So I hope you take that into consideration. Again, that's what makes these folks happy, and a lot of other ones. But I just want everybody to know that we are looking to increase the amount of STEM kids participants. But not only that, but school-wide. Every teacher in the school is going to start implementing STEM lessons. Whether they're in language arts, whether math, it doesn't matter. They can find them. They have access to them. It's just a matter of getting them out there, getting their feet wet in that stuff. So that's another thing too. So we're going to start going system-wide or school-wide as far as middle school with STEM. So there's no reason why we can't, no reason why we shouldn't. I'm hearing you, so that's the direction we're going to go. So we're going to pull it off. That's all I have.
Okay, you got some lights on. Lights on. Go ahead, Mr. Devlin.
What are we doing? I know I've seen the turnout for people applying for STEM. I was one of those parents that was there.
Yeah.
I know this may sound crazy, but what are we doing to advertise that we have STEM? Because a lot of the middle schools around the city don't advertise that they have it, and I believe our program is more than special.
Yeah. We're trying to get that message out there, and again, the news press with these guys had a fantastic article too. They were around to come into the school, and I kind of, while they were doing their presentations for the Lighthouse, kind of steered them in the other direction to get them some STEM opportunities. I know Mrs. McLean also is getting folks in the news press to come out, try to get them to come into the schools a little bit more. We're getting it out there as far as. I know Mrs. Terrio is at the school too, working on some video clips just to get some of that information out there. But again, it's push for open houses. It's pushed to the 5th grade. We do open houses and whatnot, so we're really trying to get it out there. As far as outside the system, I don't want to sound like I have a big head, but we don't need to.
That's what I was getting
We
ready to
just
say.
really
We don't have
don't.
enough spots.
We don't have enough
We have-
spots.
We don't have space. We don't have enough spots.
We don't, and that's just the reality of it, which is a good problem. I mean, I'm proud to say that. It's just, I think from outside this system, we probably only take maybe 18 to 20 kids. We're good.
Shame we can't handle more kids.
Yep.
Just real quick, I just want to be clear. You said you're possibly expanding the STEM seats for next year, or you are?
We are.
So we're going from 40 to,
We're gonna have a total of 75 to 80 in 6th grade.
okay. So the folks who've been notified their children have been accepted, that's in the first 40. Are there going to be more letters going out?
Yes. As soon as possible.
Okay.
There's some things that we just need to take care of, some
I
schedule
would
things that
imagine
we need to take a look at and get it.
Okay. I just want to be clear that there's so.
Yeah. Yep.
We just run from the podium? Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm done with you. Wait, maybe I want to ask a question. Look, see, I'm not in charge of you.
Sure you are.
I'm not in charge of you.
Yes, so I'm very excited, and Mr. Stevenson may have to pull me down here in a minute. Congratulations. I cannot wait until you guys transition over. I'm not going to try to take you sooner, although I think that you probably could come. But I cannot wait to have you move into the high school and see what great things you're going to continue to do. And this is the piece that I continue to stress to my teachers. If they're doing these things at this level, we cannot continue to stand in front of them, lined in rows, lecture to them, taking notes, and expect them to transition into post-secondary roles that look much different. Whether it's workforce or the college level, school is changing, education is changing. And I think this is a prime opportunity for us to continue our conversations. The principals have these conversations on a regular basis because this is our passion. We know that next generation learners require a much different approach to what we're delivering. What worked for you and I is not going to be sufficient for these students. It just has to look different. And we have to get them engaged. There are too many real world problems out there that they could be contributing to just in this community for us to keep it boxed inside of that classroom. When I think of the marine biology classroom, our students should be outside every day. It's sunny and 75 every day here. And so the opportunities that we have, not just with STEM, but I believe across the board in all core curriculum, is critical for us to begin looking at. And especially in a high school that has been very driven by ACE. And as I tried to articulate last month, I think ACE is a critical foundation for our students, but we have to expand that vision beyond just ACE preparation. Just in the last couple weeks when we were doing our end of course and FSA assessments, I've had more than one student and at least one parent phone call that the concern was if we're only prepping for the ACE exams and they get a different type of question on the FSA or the end of course or the SAT, what is our purpose? And that is a question that I continue to ask our staff. What are we here for? ACE is only a small portion. It's an important portion. It's attached to scholarships. But students have to be able to leave and write an MLA and APA and critically think and solve. It's more than just standards. It is skills. And that is exactly what these students are demonstrating. They're taking their knowledge and applying it to the real world work that you and I had to learn much differently in a lot of cases to do because of even how we were trained. And so I think it's critically important for this conversation to happen. I think it's timely. The idea that core curriculum can work in isolation is really beginning to be some conversation of the past. We know that when the bell rings and we leave science and go to math, if we can make those connections cross-curricular, that the likelihood that it's more meaningful for students and instruction is very powerful. And so that really that's my desire. That is my heart. And that is the heart of all of your principals. I mean, we constantly are having the conversations around How can we improve? How can we take it to the next level? We are a very good school system, but we don't want to let good get in the way of being great, because we can continue excellence. And in order to continue excellence, we have to do things differently to make sure that we're maintaining the needs and meeting the needs of our students. So congratulations to you all. You guys got me really excited over there from the get-go, and I had to sit there and just sort of go through in my mind really what this is going to look like for us. And so I will share with you, there are a few conversations that we're already having at the high school for next year. One is that we are going to create a position for a course like this to happen. We don't know the exact structure yet. We've talked about a few different options. We've talked about some periods that are open for that teacher so that any curricular course can merge into that classroom and do building and do some hands-on activities at the appropriate junctures in their curriculum. We have talked about offering specific electives. I think we have a prime opportunity with our freshmen. Our discussion has been probably to offer sort of two teams in order to really start drilling down and get into the personalized needs of our students. I feel like we sort of have to condense where our students are going. If they're visiting 8 different teachers that have no connections with the 7 other teachers that they have, it can get really complicated when you're trying to deal with individual student needs. And so we're really trying to look at how can we team our teachers in such a way that they're sharing students. So a core group of teachers would have the same, like 80 to 100 students. A core of teachers over here would teach the same. And that way there can be some cross-curricular conversations. We think we can do this pretty easily, starting with the freshman year, and having maybe 2 teams of teachers, because we already are pretty much supplying to English, to science, to math. And maybe have one group more arts and humanities driven and one group more math and science driven, so that students that are coming over can have some voice and choice in where they go. If their passion is drama and arts and humanities, then why shouldn't we be covering that in English and all of the things that can tie in there? So we have to become more efficient in our own system, and that is what we're working towards. We aren't there yet. We may not be there this time next year, but we are going to take some steps to get to where we know that we need to be to serve our students. So congratulations. I also want to say, I'm going to back up a little bit. Congratulations to Mr. Hava. I know that as a Lighthouse winner, I've seen the process now and how intense that process is. And I know some people would say that, well, he's just a PE teacher. And he is a PE teacher. He is not just a PE teacher. He is not a typical PE teacher. Mr. Hava submits lesson plans to me on a weekly basis that are probably in my top 5 in terms of detail and in terms of specificity about what he is doing. And if he comes upon a juncture at which he doesn't feel like he can move forward, that maybe students aren't grasping or they haven't met the goals that they set out, he will immediately send me an email to let me know that he's adjusting, and if I come visit his classroom that day, that it's going to not be where he has stated that it would be on his plans. That's above the bar for most physical education teachers. So he really is above the bar, and certainly happy to have him in our building. Paul Pescatrice just happens to be stationed in our building as well, and I don't know, he's like a miracle worker. I don't know that there is anything that you could not ask of him that he couldn't go and make happen pretty much on the spot, and he has 4 of us calling him all of the time, and he's always on call. You can call him at 10 o'clock at night if I think of something, and he'll answer the phone, and he would drive to school right then if he needed to make it happen. So, but just wanted to make sure that I recognize them as well. Testing starts really early in Florida, and that is a little frustrating for someone who really likes to see instruction happening. And the testing really does sort of wreak havoc, but I will say that Charlene Long, our testing coordinator, has done a fabulous job of organizing that, scheduling that, and making that flow as well. I would also like to report that I'm currently fully staffed. And yes, there are only 15 weeks of school left. But there's first step for everything, correct? Thanks to Ms. McAtee for helping in that process. And we have offered the marine biology position as of today, and it was accepted, and so we're going to try to get him in the building as quickly as possible. But I will say, and I will reiterate, that I know that we have lost staff. I know some of you have had questions about that. It's not comfortable for me either. Students losing instructional time is not what we want. It will probably impact us at some point. I hope by that time we're already starting to move forward. But we are being very critical of who we hire and who we're bringing in. And we're looking for rock stars. I mean, we aren't settling. And so until we find the right candidate, we are sticking to our guns about what it is that we're looking for. The Neola policies, I do appreciate your work on those because that does help us have some leverage back at the school level to really drill down and look at our own building level policies. So we're going to continue to work there. In terms of curriculum, I shared with you that the English Language Arts Department had worked to build their curriculum maps. Those are due to me on March the 17th. So just to give you a timeline, what that means is that for every 9 weeks, for every course, they will have established what standards they're going to cover. And they will have also designed benchmark assessments that students would be taking so that they can look at data to kind of see where our gaps are before we run through the whole year and give an assessment. So we're trying to get some incremental checks in there to make sure that if students are behind and they're not demonstrating mastery on standards, that we can intervene in real time as opposed to waiting 9 weeks. Math is meeting on March the 16th, and we will be doing the same exact procedure. We're going to identify what standards and what courses and how we're going to assess and make sure that they know what they need to know, and if they don't, how are we going to respond as a school right then. Scheduling, I've shared a little bit with you already on the freshmen. We haven't really spent a ton of time scheduling because of our favorite accreditation time right now. I will say it is overwhelming and it's time consuming, but it has really made us hone in on where our gaps are. And we already sort of knew, but it's really validated when you can't put your hands on the evidence. It really does direct you into thinking and shoring up what needs to be shored up to get to where you need to go. The TSA, Technology and Engineering, and just back to the critical skills that I believe a lot of our students are lacking. That will give us some opportunity to really look and engage students in hands-on. We are hosting a Google Boot Camp. I think I did share that with you all maybe last month, May the 14th, first Google Boot Camp in Southwest Florida. The closest one to us is going to be hosted in Sarasota. So Google will be sending a Google certified teacher on a Saturday, and so it'll be professional development, and it's actually open to any teacher in this area. The idea is that we can host it, and if it fills up, then we get 3 free seats. So I can plug 3 teachers in for free, and then host another one, and 3 more, and that's sort of the method to the madness. But that's a pretty big deal for teachers to be able to get Google certified. So we hope to be able to integrate that into our work as well. As Mr. Keith Graham shared, we are attending the Deeper Learning Conference. I think it's critical to get out and see what the best schools are doing in the country. If we don't know what the best is doing, then sometimes you wander aimlessly recreating things that are already there. And so we don't have time for that. We don't. I wanted to share with you, though, just a few of the sessions that I picked to attend. One of which is citywide project-based learning, from school to community, the mindset of community-wide project-based learning. I think it's a critical element of our schools. These aren't projects that you set and display and then they go to the dumpster. Project-based learning is truly an integrated approach to real-world scenarios and real-world applications. So it isn't something that you create and everybody kind of looks at and it goes away. I just always try to reiterate that when I say project-based learning, because I think sometimes there has to be a mind shift there. But that, again, communicating a vision for deeper learning using project-based learning in under 9 seconds. That is basically a session on designing the communication piece of that for students and staff and parents. And then just lots around scheduling and what it needs to look like for it to really impact students at the highest level possible. Tomorrow, I'm hosting 2 parent sessions. One at 8 o'clock in the morning, one at 6 o'clock in the evening, just to try to give opportunities on both ends of the day. And in that session, I plan to address what has kind of happened up to this point in the school year. I plan to be very transparent with the parents and just articulate kind of some of the hills we've climbed, but also some of the successes that we've experienced in the school year. I also would like to begin casting the vision for our work for the years to come. And if folks aren't available to come in person, we're going to live stream it on Google Hangout, trusting that the infrastructure holds up during that time. But we do have a Google Hangout room. I think it's Oasis sharing session. So if you go to a Google Hangout and you type in Oasis sharing session, that room should come up. And the idea is that I'll probably split screen and people can put questions there, and I'll be able to answer those, and I'll share my slides with the viewers that aren't able to be present as well. I'm not going to speak on the rally. We are not doing so hot in that area at the high school. I don't really know what to do. I've thought about dancing on tables, but that probably just make them run away, so I don't know. We're really trying to motivate. We really tried to put out some good prizes, but we're dead last by a lot. So we're going to just keep working and doing the best we can to get our students engaged in that, because I know it's really important. So. I know, and we send the messages, but I've gotten some student feedback, so I think there's just some pitches that are hard to overcome with high school students. I'll just leave it at that. They are great kids, though.
Is your light on?
Could be.
Mine is too.
I don't need those.
There's lights on everywhere.
Ms. Anderson can go first.
First of all,
Something for the last. Your enthusiasm is contagious, so thank you. It's phenomenal, all of yours. I didn't say it before, because it's my last night, but I do wholeheartedly support the TSA program. I think it sounds tremendous to have the growth between elementary to middle and the transition into high school. Just a little bit of history, why this is so exciting. Contagious disease. And I'll probably cry, so I apologize.
No,
It was a meeting similar to this. Eighth grade, we had a conversation, it wasn't a high school. And now I look at how far it's come, how far it's grown. It's just so exciting and wonderful. And so your enthusiasm really is just phenomenal. And to Mr. Graham, my daughter will be embarrassed if she sees this. He was her 6th grade social studies teacher, and to this day was her favorite teacher. So to see how far he's come, she's so proud. So it's just phenomenal. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I apologize for the tears. I wasn't going to cry, but what a great meeting, what a great last meeting. So thank you to all of you. This is phenomenal. This has just been like the best.
And to all of you, middle school and elementary school, sitting here patiently, hands folded, feet together, looking so phenomenal, congratulations. It's just a testament to what a great job everybody does. So again, sorry for the tears. They are happy tears because, I look back not that many years and there wasn't even a high school to speak of. So keep talking, keep dreaming. It will happen and it will come to fruition. So congratulations. I wish you nothing but success in your accreditation process. It will bring you credibility. It is important work. It's good work. So continued success to all of you. Thank you.
How are you going to follow that up, Rob?
I've got a very ugly crying face. So you guys
do I.
I want to see it.
And I was going to touch on the energy too, and I'm sort of going to direct this to the parents of our fellow middle school students. When you look at the energy that Mr. Nowicki has, and what we've done with hiring Ms. Treese this year, it's very exciting, to see that. Imagine that continue. They have your children's best interests in mind. There's a lot of new ideas coming around. They're working. Thank you for going to San Diego and bringing those ideas back home. When you talk to Ms. Treese, this is what you see is what you get. This is the kind of energy she has all the time. What I love about her is the sense of urgency. She's not waiting around for 4 years for something to hopefully happen. And when we talk about staffing changes, there's an impatience as a person, as a private business owner. I love seeing Ms. Treese work. These kids today need this, not some in the future, and she understands that. Before we know it, our kids are out of school. So, thank you for your energy, thank you for what you're doing, and your open-mindedness, and thank you for your ideas. That's it.
Oh no, you're going to make me cry?
I'm not going to cry.
I forgot to mention this before. I want to commend you and say thank you for not hiring more bodies. That is critical. Thank you for taking the time and hiring someone that's a good fit for you all over the school system. This is critical. It's important. So that's to be commended. I just forgot to mention it before. Thank you.
cry?
I will not make you cry, I promise.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, I think you were one of the best that have been hired over the last year. You're infectious when you come up. It's definitely bringing energy, and it's really nice to see. You're not sitting back and waiting for changes to happen. You're going out there and making them happen. You're actually facilitating everything. It's wonderful to see, and I'm glad I was a part of the system during this time frame. I look forward over the next few years to seeing all the changes that you decided to implement. You're doing a great job. Thank you for all you do.
He's crying. What's up with that?
I didn't make you cry, did I? Okay.
I'm good right now. I don't know if we're going to talk about the strategic plan. It still might happen. Oh, that's not Neola. That's
Yeah, you guys should
strategic.
run.
That's what Ron said. They want to go ahead and go. Thank you guys so much for your attendance tonight. I know there's a lot more to go.
Thank you for coming. You guys did a great job. That's our whole meeting. Let everybody go home.
None of our administrators.
My mom wanted to know. No, she works at Coffee Concert. Oh, yeah. She was, sorry.
This is about you now, actually. This part is about you.
Come on.
They're not going to do that. Good night. Strategic
That means
plan.
I use my microphone more.
Strategic plan really fast. I just wanted to mention the initiative 7.1 technology infrastructure. It was one of the three main things that we're doing. We're going to talk about it in a minute. But for the staff that's here, when we did the strategic plan, one of the things that was identified was, and especially specific to this school, was the CME expansion. So the idea of looking at what opportunities we have here to get folks out of trailers. So that is going to be the focus. Not trailers. Portable trailers. Modular portable trailers. Thank you.
They're modular classes.
We are trying to get you out of those things, you know. So wanted you to know that that is where the hat's going to switch over the summer once we finish accreditation and do those other things. That will be the focus. And then on top of that, next month, it will be important for you all to know we are going to present to the board, and they've worked very hard on this, and we will be working very hard on the employee salaries. Because we know that at the heart of a good system is the good teachers that go with it. So I'm going to be pretty excited to bring up a plan for teachers' pay. So I just wanted you all to know while you're here that is not on the back burner. It's definitely there. So that was it, the extent of the strategic planning part. So.
Any questions? Okay, we're moving on.
I did want to mention that in the internal review of the accreditation process, one thing that I did forget that's very important, on May 4th, from 2 to 4 p.m., there will be an actual session where they will break down for you the results of what happened in our accreditation process. So we will need to call a meeting on May 4th at 2 o'clock. And that will be a regular board meeting, the only agenda will be the accreditation report. So you'll be receiving it. There's no vote taken or anything like that. It'll just be receipt. They'll go through their findings and you'll get the process there. So I did want to get that.
Where?
May 4th, it'll be at the governing board. We believe we're going to try to secure that, but I will send you well ahead of time.
Council chambers?
Council chambers, yes. And May the 4th, yeah, May the 4th be with you. I heard from you about this. Exactly.
It's Star Wars Day.
Yes. So May 4th is a Wednesday. And that would be at 2 o'clock. Okay, we are in new business.
We're moving, I'm sorry.
No problem, no,
I missed, if it's a Wednesday?
Wednesday, May
Star
4th,
Wars
2
Day?
o'clock,
I mean,
yes.
May the 4th.
We're gonna-
Okay. All right, so new business, approval of the 2016-2017, I'm sorry. Approval of the 2016-2017 Charter School Authority calendar, Mr. Stevenson.
As far as the presentation, it is what it is. The one part here is that we will be starting earlier than normal, but that will align us. It will help for our actual high school because it will align those exams later on. So although it will be a shortened summer, the reality is it makes sense long-term. I've been a part of systems that have done this before. It's shortened summers. We don't like that, but the reality is that we'll catch up on the other end. So it's just kind of a shifting of time. So Otherwise, we developed this calendar with the principals, and that's kind of how I did it. I said, here you go, principals take a look at it, so it's pretty much from them through me, and we allowed them, whatever options that they wanted, so these dates were picked from a team perspective, so.
Well, good question, too.
Should we have a motion and a second and then have some discussion?
I'll make a second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, and now we can have discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Sawicki.
Thank you. We talked about coming through the principals. I know in the past we've had to get it, we've had to remind ourselves if we can.
We still do, and we still will have to get this approved from the Lee County School Board, so that's why I wanted to do it now, so that I can get it to their next meeting, but I needed your all's approval first.
Are you privy to there? Does this look like this?
Yes, it looks exactly like, except there's a few days that we've traded out, and on the...
The start date, I think, is the big thing.
Yes, the start date is the same.
This allows our students in this school to have their testing complete prior to the break, whenever.
Yes.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
In previous years, when we tried to start earlier than Lee County because they had different grading school system than we did, there was a problem. Is that part of the same situation now, or, because I see it's like we're moving the start
We're just
by 1 week.
Yes, we're shifting up, and that aligns with their calendar really, but what we did is we got the intricacies, the certain days we wanted with professional development days, early release days, things like that. That's where we really have more, say, and that's where the principals kind of got together and really tried to fix out what works best for them and their schools, so.
Are we able to, if we wanted to, try to start sooner?
We could potentially try. The reality is probably wouldn't get a lot of traction in terms of the schedules for busing and other things. It creates a lot more confusion, I think, and that's why my recommendation is just to go with what Lee's doing, allowing us to have our little movements within the calendar days. It just gets confusing on when, if we were be in session and they wouldn't, I think it would create more problems.
I think as long as we can get our exam in before Christmas, that's been a major.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you go. No, I'm sorry. Quick, very quick question. It looks like basically, with the differences between us and the district, there's 7 early release days, but they have 2 ones that are regular for us. So basically, there's 5 extra early dismissal days. Is there aftercare on those days, or I'm thinking about the parents? No, there's no even like
Parks and Rec
So
has,
there's
yes,
paid
but not,
aftercare.
yes.
Okay, that's available to the
Yes.
community. Okay, thank you.
Just to be clear, our students are starting on the 10th, Lee County students are also starting the same day?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I know the reason Gerald was asking, which is we had tried to do this before,
I watched even.
and we were told that we couldn't because
Well, I think.
They're moving, they've shifted there, so we're really lucky.
Okay,
They-
so now they.
You guys were just early in the process if they would have listened before, because they've now adjusted to what you thought of a couple of years ago. So now they're forward thinking. That's
Right, absolutely. Well, supposedly the issue was in terms of
In A
grades,
school, yes, that's
overall,
right. Now they're
county
able to-
grades, even though we had an A school
Yes,
system.
that
they
was the
didn't.
issue.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, so any other discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. And if anybody does not want their copy of the calendar, I will gladly take it from them. Keep them everywhere. Okay, approval of the administrative office lease negotiation proposal.
I haven't really talked to you all individually about this. I wanted to leave this as clean as possible so that you have a sense of really what we're trying to do. One of the feelings that I have is in order to support our school and our system and all the things that we want to do, we look at the way we can grow. And out of growth, the only way we can do that and attain is through enrollment, besides grants and other options. So in talking to Ms. Treese and looking at our location of where we are, one of the things that has come to mind is that we are not really, I would say, user-friendly. Where our administrative offices are, it is very difficult to find being on the second floor, gym back up, corner. So just in looking at what may be out there, we found a property that is about 1.2 miles away from our campus. It's on the corner, and on the back you have a map of where that is. It's Chiquita and Gleason. It's a 2-story office park. The offices are on the second floor. They are nothing super fancy. They are not the Taj Mahal kind of thing, but they are regular, typical, what I would say, if you're familiar with the doctor's office and how it goes in, you've got a little reception area, and then it does a little kind of a U around. There's 7 or 8 offices, depending on the configuration and how we used it. More importantly for me, there's a giant conference room. And when I say giant, it's not giant, but you can hold about 20 people or so, which is much more than we have the opportunity to do now. When I have meetings in my office, which is fine in using the table, if we get more than 5 or 6 people, we're all of a sudden don't have space to have an adequate meeting, and then we're finding spots to do that. So workflow in terms of where the personnel that report under my area are, our HR person is currently sharing an office in the Oasis Elementary School, and when I say an office, she literally has a little office that's shared with somebody else. So as a new employee, or you want to talk about personnel issues, you're going into an office where somebody's already sharing that space. Very difficult to have any conversations. Plus, when we have new employees, they have trouble finding parking, then they got to go to the elementary. Even if they're a high school hire, they don't even know where that's at because they've never been. So that's another reason there. Student priority, one of the things that would do is allow that space to be utilized for student or whatever needs that Ms. Treese comes to with the high school in terms of the growth, whether that's TSA enrollment, whether that's maker spaces for 3D printing, things like that, band rooms, whatever. Parking is already a premium. We take up the whole almost side of the gymnasium, so parking is another one that would be allowed to be to staff or to students. I mentioned the conference room, the space there. Security, it's 8 to 5 open there, but there's also cards, so it can be open much later, so our staff that would be there could still do that. There's parking there. There's plenty of parking spots. When it comes to staff, one of the things that I find is when we want to have staff that have, to be able to have open communication and all, it's difficult when they're roaming through 3 campuses to come have a conversation, and this would allow some space for people to come, outside of the workspace time or during the day, to come besides the training perspective if we want to meet there. So it's not unusual for an administrative building to not be on site, so in terms of that. And then finally, the cost, it right now is around $3,000 a month for a 5-year lease. It would be less depending on what we might be able to negotiate. I'm looking at the potential of this being around $50,000 expenditure a year. And in light of our needs as our system, it may sound on one hand like, oh my gosh, why would we spend money to do that? But the reality is twofold. One is, I believe, the fact that we've been able to save with the lobbyist, and I think that we're still getting good servicing from the city lobbyist, which I've been very pleased, at 0 fee. That's one savings. And then the second part is additional FTE at a $7,000 a student. Just doing some quick numbers, and I didn't want to throw numbers at you in terms of this concept, but adding 20 students, $7,000 a student, $140,000 minus $50,000 or so of staff salary brings us to $90,000 minus our $50,000 cost, leaves us positive some form of cash flow. To me, I believe it's the best interest, but I'm here to hear and answer any questions that you might have about this potential possibility. What would happen is if it was at least approved to begin negotiation, this would be the highest price. We would go in clearly and try to negotiate a better rate, for that length of time, and then it would have to go back to you all for kind of, well, not for you all, I'm sorry, it would have to go to the city of Cape Coral to actually, because it's a lease, they would have to approve it through city council, so we would ask Ms. Costa to go, give that to the city council, and I'd be there to answer any questions. So. It's,
Okay, start the lights. Go ahead, you're first.
Thank you. Assuming that this goes through and we fill this space ASAP, would we be able to add seats to the high school for this coming school year?
we could certainly add seats. The only reason I'm leaving it out of the numbers of seats that we add is because it depends on what we do with that space and some other spaces, which would be up at the April. So we've got some great ideas on how to do it, but the reason I didn't say, well, we're going to get exactly 20 seats, we have the opportunity to add more. But it really, we've been almost daily talking about if this would happen, what would those spaces look like. So in terms of exact numbers, I'm not sure, but yes, we could. The bottom line is yes, we could add more seats.
So offsetting the cost would be an almost instant thing, it sounds like. That's the hope.
Not only with lobbyists, plus with the lobbyist fee, but also with the, adding students. Absolutely. Whether that's 5 or 25 students, it just depends on how that space develops.
Thank you.
So a total of how many people will be moved?
It would be as much as all of our administrative staffing, so it would be Danielle Jensen potentially, it would be myself, Todd Baldwin, Vicky, the city accountant that works with us, Marisol, Shannon, we'd be looking at, who else? Mary Ann, Vicky McAtee, Christine. So there's a huge contingent that would go, which would free up space for the schools that I'm sure they wouldn't be complaining about in terms of space to put things. And one of the things I didn't mention here, but especially with HR, the city has finally agreed to allow us to hold our files. It's really been an awkward system, but for all these years they've been holding our personnel files. And when I found that out, I thought this is, so they have agreed to give them back. The problem we have is where the heck do we put them, because they have to be secured, and whether that, Shannon had agreed, Arthur, to put them in her office, but that's a huge section, and you've got somebody coming in to get files as they need. So bottom line, that would allow everybody there to almost have their own space and to lock documents and things like that securely. When it comes to internet and things like that, we've already checked with Ms. Hoffman, who is the city IT director, and in terms of access and everything we need to do with our own IT folks, they've been there. Paul Pescatrice has been our maintenance guy to look, so those expenses aren't really any additional whatsoever. We can do everything remotely, so we don't need all the major equipment that we would need if we were building a building or something like that. So.
And security?
Security is great there because it's the same kind of, you get the badge, the ID, there's bathrooms at the end of the hall that are locked, kind of shared for the set. And at 5 o'clock, the doors lock, and then at that point, only people with the key could get in. So our staff could still work well into the night. I'm sure they're glad to hear that. But so they could work all night and all morning. But so the reality is there would be access there. And to me, also it's the professional. Again, I don't want to make the indication, especially with teachers and needing salaries and the things we need, that this is not a Taj Mahal. But I also think that the reflection of our system, when I have people that come visit, it's quasi-embarrassing when they're sometimes sent outside to call, and then they're outside by PE, and maybe some of the kids let them in, and then they're standing in the lobby. Where do I go? There's no phone. It's just the impression more than anything else. Plus, it just makes, to me, it makes sense in that context, because we have people that may visit us that we may not want walking through the campus. There may be a meeting that I have that I potentially, this person that I might be meeting shouldn't be roaming on the campus, but yet that's where we meet. So there's a couple of things related to that.
I just had a question on the 5-year lease. Is that?
We have options, and that's where there's some flexibility. There's a 3-year lease option, there's a 5-year lease option. One of the things is, as I told you, this isn't a Taj Mahal. It needs carpeting, it needs painting and all that. And so on the initial conversation, it was if you lease it for 5, they would take care of carpet, painting and all that. If it's 3, they wouldn't. But if we have an opportunity to negotiate, I'm giving you the worst case 5-year, that $29.50 at the most. Hopefully we'd be able to negotiate a little bit less. And if it could be that we do 3 years in a shorter term, but they would fix the carpet and all, I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm not trying to extend the length if there's a possibility. I just didn't want to spend any more to get materials to get us into the building. In other words, if we do the 5, they'll pay for that. So.
Are we stuck to just this one property, or have you looked at others?
We've looked at other locations, and quite frankly, it is very hard to find office space here. When we do, it's gone. And so the reason that I don't want to say there's a time constraint, because there's not, but this in terms of location for both Krista and our Oasis, no better spot can be found that I'm aware of, and we've looked a lot. And the price per square foot really meets the fairness level, if you will, for what they're asking for. I still think we might be able to get a deal even, but it is tough right now. Commercial spaces just don't have so much in Cape. So this is, after looking at a lot of places, this is the most centralized. Again, 1.2 miles from our Oasis campus and straight down the road really from Krista McCullough. So.
One thing I learned from being in the system for so long is we have a lot of parents that are still grasping. You might be able to use that, giving hours to some of the parents, helping them get that office space up and running.
And I don't anticipate any really extra expenditures in terms of equipment or anything like that. The only thing that I'd probably be looking at down the road at some point is a conference table that would fit that space. A used conference table, when it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't have to be super nice, but they would actually allow us to have all the people in there at one time. Otherwise, all the furniture and equipment we have would go with us. There may be an occasion where, perhaps like Vicky, who doesn't really have an area right now, might need a small desk to go, but we would look at every option to not spend. We certainly don't want to spend any more money on it. It would be whatever we can get. If we beg, borrow, steal, we would do it. So.
A couple of things here, just in background and full disclosure, I helped locate evening. I'm a real estate broker here in the city of Florida, and I helped locate it. I will not be taking commission for this. Anything we can negotiate with the commission, we put back towards the school systems. Just to let you guys know that. You mentioned you didn't want to throw a lot of numbers at this. My preference would be to see a lot of numbers next time. So even if you're not sure with what you're doing, option A is this, option B is that, option C is that, because it is a numbers decision. So my first question would be, is 20 the minimum amount of students, the maximum amount of students?
See, the problem we've got is that in April, that's when we're going to do our budget workshop, and the space literally is at a daily. We're going to do some TSA there. Are we going to do? Is band going to go in and use practice rooms, and then we can move the band room?
How much? Let me ask it this way: how many square feet are we giving them? Or if you look at it,
I don't know.
How many classrooms could we have in that space?
It's not necessarily the classroom space there. What it is it would allow some classrooms to go there to utilize that space, which would free up other classrooms. I don't want to let too much out of the bag, but maybe our media center, part of the media center might be utilized.
You have to let too much out of the bag. We want to know that. So.
Well, no, I understand. It's just the staff. And that's kind of for there's opportunities to maybe move some people around based on where they are located currently, that we could potentially add at least one classroom. So at least one. 25 is the number for high school, so we can have up to 25 kids. What I didn't want to do is give you false information and say I'm going to add 25 kids, and then it becomes 15 because we've decided to do something with TSA, and that's why it's really difficult, because really I felt like there's A, B, C, D, E, F, and there's a whole range, and I agree with you, but it's a very tough.
There's nothing in here about the cost of converting those offices to the next use.
Because we might not even need to based on what use we do, which depends on, in other words, those could be band practice rooms. They could be.
They're big enough for that?
The individual practice rooms, they could be maker spaces. We talked about 3D robotics, 3D printing in one room where kids travel around, and then those spaces where they would be going could be classroom space that now can't be. So bottom line, my assurance to you all is that I don't want to spend any more money. That's not the intent. The intent is to make some money. So all I can throw out there that my assurance would be that this isn't going to cost our system more. Whatever the 50,000 is, we're going to get at least something back. Now, whether it's 55,000 and we've got 5,000 back, or whether it's 100,000 and we get 50,000 back, that's the part that I don't know, and it really depends on budget and what we add in teachers and things like that, and I just don't know right now.
Is the whole admin staff going to go except for this?
Absolutely. Yeah, the whole administrative staff. There may be
Mrs. Jensen or
Miss Jensen's, maybe, depending on the cafeteria role duty, but that would, again, the middle school would love that space. Mr. Baldwin may be a great example that he may not need his own office there because he's doing the facilities, so we wouldn't use the office perhaps at this new site for him if he's going to be roaming the campuses. He's sharing right now as well. It's the same thing, which nobody's complained about, but it's very difficult. You're on the phone and somebody behind you on the phone and to conduct business. Marjorie wouldn't be because of transportation. She would need, our buses have to be parked there, so that one makes sense. But a majority of the administrative, which again is 10 people or more, everybody that we can would get there. And they've all looked, by the way, just so you know, I took them there. So this isn't just something that hasn't been around. They've all got to walk around and see the space and all that stuff. So they had input.
Last question, for employees that would go there, is there going to be an additional cost for mileage if they have to go to the campuses?
There potentially could, but remember, well, not employees going there, but for our staff that might have to leave to go to the schools, whatever, they could technically put in mileage, but the fact is, we're gonna be there, so my intent is we actually would cut down on some of that because I'll be going to the school. That's the whole intent, that I'll be roaming the schools. And so that's really another positive about this, is that we'll cut down some of that cost and stuff. So.
So the one here is that if they are converted to classrooms within the high school, it's a minimal renovation cost involved.
If they even are, which we may find opportunities to move other spaces to create a classroom and use those offices as they are in current configuration, again, depending on curriculum. And I think the High Tech High visit may really have them come back with some really cool ideas of how to use those spaces without. We looked at TV production, we looked at band, there's a myriad of the dark room for photography. I mean, there's a lot that could be done. And if we're going to think outside the box, that's my only thing. This is for my end coming here that I run the risk of people feeling like we're trying to get this big, nice administrative, which again, I just want to share that's not the case. It's really about looking at the system as a whole and really what's best for securing kind of down the road. There would be signage as well on this, that would have City Cape Coral Charter Schools, so it's another presence for us as well.
Prior to your arrival here and prior to Mr. arrival, there was talk from other principals, or not other principals, another principal at the high school, that it would be nice to have her staff in the high school and not administrative staff. Does that make sense? So that's
She's packing bags already, so I don't know what to say.
That's out of the high school itself. So that's an added benefit, I would imagine.
Sounds like a good idea.
I was just going to add to that, Ms. Anderson, you can speak with the previous principal and the current principal, I think they both like to have you out of there.
Yeah. I was trying to find a way to say that without saying that, but you didn't
But it's
know
right.
that.
I understand, and I recognize that, that's why it makes sense to me too. So.
Nobody likes you.
I know, that's all right.
Can I make a motion to approve?
Second.
Well, we have a motion and a second, and we've had a lot of discussion, so I guess we can vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I expect they're gonna have us over for breakfast.
We can all meet at
The
least.
grand opening. A ribbon cutting and a grand opening. All right, well, I don't know why you think you're sitting down. Oh, you
I
do get
get
to
you
sit
for a
down.
moment,
Yeah, you get to sit down for just a second. Okay, Ms. Treese, you're up.
So this has to come before you all, it's my understanding, because it's more than 10,000, isn't that 100?
Anything over 100.
Oh, over 100,000. Yeah, so this is a scary checker, right? $130,000 for the ACE exams, and that's what it's for our student ACE exams.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
This one.
You get everybody a lot of fast.
Has the price gone up over the years?
I don't know, because I'm learning
I don't think
so much.
the price has gone up, but the amount of.
The amount of students taking it definitely has increased.
But there's reimbursement if they are successful.
Correct, yes, we get lots of dollars back. So it's a lot to pay out, but we also get a lot back in return. Plus the student benefits.
Good return on investment.
It definitely is. Thanks.
All right, you didn't get to sit very long, now you get to talk about infrastructure.
Okay, the big one. Here we go. This is, and I appreciate you all allowing this to be part of an emergency kind of agenda item. You know, we struggle very much to make sure that you always get things in a timely manner. However, this one came up literally the day that I sent the email out to you. We have spent a lot of time. There's an email that you could reference a couple of weeks ago that I sent you kind of outlining where we've been with the process. I've got to commend Mary Ann, Steve Burley, Danielle Jensen, Todd Baldwin, a lot of work that they've done, and I know Danielle and Steve specifically have spent a lot of time working on this. I met with, and I can only tell you, we talked about the relationship with the city, and Ms. Coslin, this is important for you to know, that Michelle Hoffman, the new IT director, I had contacted her and kind of a plea for help in the situation that we were in. And again, our issue was finding somebody that had the expertise to make sure that we could cover all of our areas before I asked you for this kind of money. And I can only say that the director of IT actually came over, one of the first folks from the city of Cape Coral, actually spent time in our office, committed resources. I said, we will help pay whatever. She said, we'll take care of it. So her and Mr. Carrington has been just an invaluable resource. And so I just want to let you all know that this is not just a plan that we've come up with. This is a plan where the city's looked at where we are and what we need and our needs are. Now, how this would work, it's very hard to align our calendar and procurement calendar with our budget, with the city budget being a different time. So what we need next is an RFP. So we have to put the request for proposal out there. Now, what you have in front of you, this procurement request for work, I haven't signed it yet. That's what I would be doing. Those line items are each of the schools. So those are each of the schools that go there. The colored sheet that you have with the yellow, green, blue, those are closets that are actual port closets that have all the stuff in them, the guts, if you will. And I'm not a tech person, but I'll tell you these are the core switches, the servers, the whole piece there. So they have gone over this with fine-tooth comb with assistance of the city. And what they've come to is that on the high end, and we anticipated, we hope that it would be less, but we need, with an RFP, you need to put at least as much as you think it would be, to this amount of $450,000. I know this is a big move for our system, but when we've got teachers that need the technology support and we want to grow and do that, we need to have the infrastructure so that we don't have to turn Wi-Fi off on a particular day and all that. We deserve, and our kids deserve, our staff deserve much better than that. So this is what this is. The only other scope of work that may potentially be part of this, there are 3 servers that we would need to purchase, and there is some fiber, some lines that may have to lay some fiber. Why it's not in here is because the quote is different. It's the amount of money here that we would need. The $20,000 or so is what the servers would cost later, but we need to get this approved first. We can do that on our own without having to go through the city RFP process. So I'm saying, and I've talked to them, that at best there's another $50,000 out there of expense after this at best. It may be less, and this may be less, but we have to put out the RFP for the higher end. Again, we hope that they'll bid in lower and we'll get a better product. If we do this now, we would ask, I would sign it, and I would be calling right over to the city to see how quickly we can get this through for the RFP, so we can get that going quickly. And then, once we would secure a vendor, then it would be the matter of making sure that we actually get the work and scope done in a timely manner, which means they have to order all the equipment and set up a stage to do this. So this is a huge undertaking, but I believe this is the future of our system here, right in front of you, and we've been talking about it, and this is where the rubber meets the road, if you will, in my estimation. Could it be less? Could it be more? Could there be a different company? Maybe, but this is where we are now after as much work as we've done. And it's been months, just so you'll know. It hasn't been actually it's probably been the year that I've been here, but it's been a lot of work by a lot of people. So this is thought out as well as possible. Is it going to be the perfect system? I've been told it is. What is important to sell this though as well is that it does create a 5-year, they built in kind of like a 5-year service agreement to this. So at least this money would protect us kind of for the 5 years in terms of, we shouldn't be coming back 3 years later saying, well, this went out, this went out, this went out. It's part of the maintenance for this, and that would all be written in the RFP as well. So
5 years will all be outdated.
well, that's kind of where we are. Now, there could be a potential, and I don't want to open this door because I don't want to give you any false information, but there's a potential for a partial or tiny reimbursement from E-rate. There's some funding that potentially, and I'm doing big quotes because I don't want anybody here to be misled that we're getting a dime back, but there could be potential to get some E-rate money. But as part of this project, I would just presume right now we're not, and then if we do, it would be like bonus getting some money back. So this is a tough one, and I'm here to answer any questions. Oh, and I do want to say before, so any of you techie people there, we're going from 100 megabits to 10 gigabits or bytes. I don't know. It's a lot. All I've been told is it's really, really a lot. I mean, I don't know, our TSA people are here, but that's a lot of stuff. So we will be able to run really high speed. It's like we're revving up the engine and able to handle a lot. So.
Should we have a motion and a second first, and then have our discussion? Second. We have a motion and a second, so let's
Motion
have
for
some
what?
discussion.
To approve.
Let's have our, go ahead.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Ms. Boyd.
Okay, just the English teacher could be correct. Infrastructure to infrastructure. Please, before you sign it and send it to somebody else.
Okay, who's next? Since it's going to go in this budget and not next year's budget, does that mean we're pulling from the reserves?
Yes.
Marianne, what would that leave us with in reserves?
I haven't done any figures because today was the very first day I've seen this.
Okay. We were at under 2 months reserves.
We're at 2
This
months.
put us closer to 1 month.
We are at 2 months right now.
Okay, so we went up, that was what you went, the extra you put in, so now we're up to 2 months. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And will this pretty much cover everything that we need for all the properties, including the work being done?
All four properties, all the work done. The only thing that's an outlier is, again, 3 servers, which are around $20,000, and some fiber work, which I've been told could be $5,000 to $15,000, but I'm just saying $50,000 additional to this as a worst case scenario. I want to come back to you and say, hey, congratulations, we did this at 400, and we now have the money for the servers and nothing else has changed. That's the goal, but what it'll be, it all depends on the RFP. So.
What support is our IT department going to be getting with this, between the installation and...
That's part of it. Yeah, they are going to, it's pretty much complete. They are going to, the whole intent of this is so this company will come, help set up, get everything going, and then we have kind of a 5-year commitment from them that they're going to keep. And most software companies do, because once you buy in, you're kind of, I hate to say this, but you're kind of stuck with what you got with that company, so you really don't have a lot of options. But we've at least said to them, you're going to, for 5 years, assist us with this. Now, does that mean we'll never have any other expense? I couldn't say that, but this should take care of a big chunk. And I've asked that question. I think Mr. Baldwin's heard me ask that 20 times to various people and vendors. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? And I've been assured over and over it is. And I mean, at some point, I have to say that I think we need to move forward, and this is the time. And you know, we're going to do the very best we can. And I'm sure we're going to be really responsible in our fiduciary responsibilities to make sure that we're not spending any more than we need to be, and we'll be on them. And again, this is, I would say this is my job, and I would say that in front of the board. The reality is if this thing fails this summer, and we can't test, or our schools can't open, this is a huge piece of this. The only other thing that would add to this, it wouldn't even be part of this, but something else, is our CSADs and the need to develop some sort of internal system. We have an older system. But we're gonna look at options between now and towards the end of the year, and I may come back to you with something like that, but it has nothing to do with infrastructure. That's a whole separate thing. But I do need to point out that that needs to happen. And we can't continue with what we have, which is an older system. It's a great system that somebody set up, and I don't want to disparage any of that. However, it doesn't make sense to me to go back and rebuild and maintain an old system. We need to move forward with something that's going to supply our front office people specifically with what they need. So.
Speaking with the IT department, they were talking that one of their biggest worries was, since they had to do it in sections, there's basically a 7-week summer. Have you spoken to some of these companies to make sure that this?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all been viewed at, but that's why this is so important, because we want to move, and that's why I put it on emergency, because if we wait, we're backing everything up. So I'd rather have a little bit of window, because you know how that is, something, a core switch doesn't come in on time, and then we're stuck, and I don't want to be out of equipment, you know, for all summer. This will adjust some of what happens at our schools in terms of what technology is accessible. I made the kind of quip the other day that, well, if we have the office space, we have places for people to go that has internet. If we have to, it's a whole separate thing. So if that's a case that we have to work remotely while one site's down, then they'll do that, and they'll do it in the most efficient way. But that has to happen this summer, because I'm afraid of testing for next year. We're already to the point where stuff has to be shut down just to test. And if we don't make testing, there's nothing that I can do. And I don't want to use that as a scare tactic, but if our testing goes south one day, I don't have a switch to pull to do something immediately. So this is as critical as it gets for our system. So definitely proceed. Thank you.
All right, a couple of things. This is a request for us to go out and get bids, right? We don't have a company identified, we don't have a quote in writing.
Right, absolutely.
Next step, you go out and get bids and come back to us and say, this is a good we're picking because X, Y, Z.
Right.
Okay. Third question is, here you've got infrastructure. You know, a lot of people talk, you get the commercials, you get 100 gig service to your house, but if your router only does 20, it's a big waste. So my concern is we're going to have this capacity, but this doesn't cover software, desktops.
That has nothing to do with that. The only thing that there is that we will have to talk to CenturyLink about kind of turning up the speed for us, which is a whole nother, but that's down the road once we get this all set up. But no, it has nothing to do with technology in terms of 3D printing, new computers for staff, nothing to do with that. No software additions. This is just hardware. Yes, cables, hardware.
Internet connection.
Now, what this will do, though, what's important, and I forgot to mention this, is there's a Meraki network, which is the Wi-Fi network, and this Meraki will allow us, and what I said to this is I want our staff to be able to go outside, and that's how robust it would be, because the intent is, if we ever go one-to-one device, kids are going outside. I don't want them to lose reception. I'll give you an example. When I got into my office, we were hooked up to Wi-Fi on a laptop when I first got there. It would go out half the time. I couldn't even connect just in the second floor of a building. So they will be going through all of that, making sure that it's very robust throughout the buildings, and then even somewhat outside of our footprint, outside of an actual building footprint. So.
All right, so my concerns would be just that what do we have? And we're not going to be able to use this capacity anytime soon with our existing equipment.
Well, no and yes. The yes part is that right now we are having trouble where we are. The servers and the speed of the core switches will allow us to increase that capacity. But in terms of actual equipment, right now, that's not part of any of this. So, yeah.
Okay. Then my next thing is directed at Ex-Cosdim. Since we are leasing these buildings, and these are sort of infrastructure improvements to the building that are generated, take care of. Maybe you could speed up, maybe we could get that, our lease negotiation going.
Yes. Can I respond to that? Okay. Can I have I did get an update on that, and it's not really an update. They're still in the research phase. It seems that there was a little bit of a misunderstanding about having a board member involved in the meetings. So that's why the meetings still haven't happened, or you haven't been involved in the meetings. But I think that we should direct the superintendent in negotiations to make sure infrastructure is, if we can, part of the city's responsibility. If we can, that's the thing.
Well, to do that, we first have to be able to get a meeting, and the superintendent hasn't been able to get a meeting since October. So whether the board members there or not, we just need to be able to sit down. We've not started that process.
The city manager was unaware of this when I talked to him, so I kind of refreshed him on where we should be, but now we're going to get off topic, but it does fall into the category of lease renegotiation when we're talking about the IT, so.
And we can tell you who we've been talking to there, so if that's helpful.
Okay.
And emails and things like that.
Thank you, Ms. Clement. So I agree we need this. I hope we can get some help from our landlord in terms of we are making improvement to their buildings, and it's certainly germane to our negotiations.
Wait, Ms. Anderson's light has been on for a very long time.
Thank you. Rob hit on my other question, but a piece of that, so then to understand, although we're not updating internally, external to the infrastructure, they benefit to the degree that what we currently have is compatible with the update.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we can immediately add, which the day that this is done, we can immediately add, you know, if we add more classrooms or more computer, we can do it right away. So, yeah, that's the intent.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're back down your way.
Actually, my question is, since you had brought up CSATs, I know originally you were looking at Focus as whatever happened with that.
Focus is the Lee County School one. It's very inexpensive. That's why Lee County got it. I think it ultimately might have what we need, but unfortunately, because Lee County is just taking longer than what we would like, their look down the road is 2, 3, 4 years before they're using the functions that we need. They're doing a lot of things still on paper. They're doing a lot of things. I mean, we are so advanced. Even our CSATs that I said was slower is actually much better than some of what they're using. So we can't tap into the Focus until they actually activate the switch, because we're sharing their software. So that forces us to figure out what to do in the interim. And so do we limp along with CSATs and try to keep that going for a couple of years, or do we invest in some software that'll take care of all of our, because part of the problem is they use a different bus software. For in other words, how they route their buses and what they do is done with their own individual software. And then how they do their mainframe is same as ours, but it's a little bit different in how they keep their data. So the Focus thing is not an answer right now. And we actually, Steve Burley and I were at the Florida Education Technology Conference. We met with Focus ourselves to see if we could go ahead and get that stuff first. But because they're on a bid with Lee and they're much larger than us, they weren't willing to do any advanced work for us, since they were big contracts with Lee. So we've already tried. We went right to the vendor ourselves to see if we could speed that up.
So basically our option is
Our
to
option
stick
is
with
to
the CSAT.
stay with CSATs or look at software to get us the gap between the next couple, 2, 3 years, which I think that's a much better option, quite frankly. And so Penny Faulkner and Steve Burley and some other folks are looking into what options we might have in terms of what software might be out there. What is it that we're using CSATs for that maybe we could use an alternative in the interim just to get us through? So again, it's all being cost conscious. We're trying not to spend. I don't want to retrain and then have to retrain a few years down the road. That's not the intent. But CSATs is just, to me, not a viable ongoing. It's based on 2007. Yeah, so.
But then if we look at alternative software, do we eventually have to go with Focus, or we will be able to continue?
Well, we could separate. Not everybody and not all charter schools go with Lead based on the Focus. What I do like about Focus is once it's up and running, it's very inexpensive. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but we paid, say, $20,000 the first year, but then after that, the maintenance fee is tiny. So that's why Lee went with it, because it's not very expensive ongoing. The problem is, because Lee's so large, they're not ready to jump to all the things where we would be ready to tomorrow get Focus. So I've talked to their IT director, and they say it could be as much as 3 or 4 years before the pieces we need are added to it. So we have an option. We could just go away from Focus and do our own thing. And if we find software that will do that, then that might be an option too. I know from my background, looking at some of the software, it's very expensive, and that's the problem. It's the ongoing cost. So Focus might end up being the best route, but we need something to patch us for 2 or 3 years.
Thank you.
I'm done. I just want to thank Ms. Kaza for bringing the meeting to the city manager's attention. Thank you for moving that along.
Mr. Bluntree's light on? He hasn't spoken at all tonight. Is your light on?
You just woke him up.
Just to remind, this is not a bid, this is an RFP. And in a situation like this, you don't necessarily want to go with the lowest bidder, you want to go with the best provider of the service. So there's usually at least a minimum of 3 proposals that's sought, and price is a factor. I mean, and you do consider the price as a major factor, but it's not the determining factor. We're going to try to get the best system available for the price. It's not necessarily just a absolute low bid. Clarify that. And there's room for negotiations in an RFP rather than a bid. You can negotiate during the RFP process as to what they might provide and some other things like that.
And these RFPs are not easy to write, I'll tell you that much. So that's why we do appreciate, there was some city assistance, and we do appreciate that to get us where we are. So that's a positive.
Okay, any other discussion? Yeah, go ahead. Are we finished about infrastructure? No. Okay, so let's vote on this first, right? We already have a motion and a second. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, put it out there. Find somebody who's willing to just gift us $450,000. I mean, you know, that Bill Gates guy, I mean, it is infrastructure. And we are going to use a lot of Microsoft products. Okay, so before I get to adjournment, and I need to do one little housekeeping thing that Shannon wrote me a note about, but I missed, even though it was this big pink post-it on my paper. So it wasn't her fault, it was my fault. When we approved the agenda, we approved it with the wrong meeting date for next time, so I need to have a motion and a second to approve a new agenda item that is Tuesday, April 12th, instead of the 8th. So can I have a motion and a second? So moved. Okay.
Second.
And any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we have changed our meeting date. Sure. Okay.
You got to bring it to.
All right, so go ahead. They're on now.
You bring the presents, I'll bring the.
I just want to make one comment. Ms. Faulkner did an amazing job on the websites. I've gone over them repeatedly and they're absolutely amazing. Excellent work that she did, and that will help the school system for many, many years to come. Great job.
Thanks. Okay, so the time and date of next meeting is Tuesday, April 12th, 2016, at 9 a.m. in council chambers. There's a regular board meeting followed by a budget workshop in the green room. We are in adjournment at 8:30